They used to tell me I was building a dream with peace and glory ahead. Why should I be standing in line, just waiting for bread? Once in khaki suits, gee, we look swell, full of that Yankee doodly-dum. 500,000 boots went slogging through hell, and I was the kid with the drum. Say, don't you remember? They called me Al. It was Al all the time. Why don't you remember? I'm your pal. Say, buddy, can you spare a dime?
I mean, I was just figuring half past for Alan. Like, okay, so everyone, since we're all here, the start time for us is 7:30, but we're telling Alan it's 7. Maybe.
I remember we done that once for a previous game, and he actually turned up right on time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember that. It was crazy. Yeah, no, I played that like Dead West game with you, and I was like, oh yeah, no, that surely it's gonna be a while before the next time I play with the guy, and then I completely forgot what day it was.
Yesterday was just a non-day for me, so I just completely forgot it happened.
It's because we were off for the Easter bank holiday.
I mean, it was a little bit because you weren't working, yeah, but it was also because my fucking sleep's just backwards.
If it's any consolation, my sleep's becoming incredibly fucked up recently.
Oh, you don't want that, mate. My stomach been bothering me all day today because it's got terrible acid if I'm up all night as well.
I got 4 hours sleep yesterday. I basically just collapsed. Like, I'd been done with the day, collapsed into bed at 8, woke up just after midnight, couldn't get back to sleep.
Ooh, that's worse. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
And I basically like done so much this morning. Like, I was playing Switch, I was chatting to folks on Discord, I was cleaning my house, I threw a slow cook on. Then after work, I was like the final half hour of work was the hardest half hour because I actually felt myself like properly like hit the wall.
Yeah. Start hallucinating shit, man.
I knuckled through it, collapsed in bed, slept for probably an incredibly deep 90 minutes. Woke up and I was like, fucking great. That's why like I didn't message you because it was like, there's a chance I'll only sleep for a little bit, but I need the sleep. I will not function.
Yeah.
You need the full 90 minutes for your cycle as well.
So like I was happy that I only got 90 minutes because that means like I'll be able to do this and hopefully get like maybe another 4 hours.
Well, mine was, mate, last night I was up to like 5:30 and then I woke up at 9:30 this morning because my neighbour had fucking deliveries and shit. They came at my door. And then I was up until 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I was staring at my screen and I was like, I just need to go fucking lie down. I'm just too fucking tired. But I forgot tonight was Tuesday anyway, so I was like, it doesn't matter if I sleep through. And then I got up at like 6 or something.
Yeah, for me, like, I guess it must be just the time for, you know, shit sleep schedules. But for me, it's out of pure, like, laziness because, like, I just randomly was playing a game, like, the past couple of nights, and I just haven't been able to put it down. And it's such a great game, too, because, like, it's one of those where you start playing, and then you think 2 hours have gone by, and instead you're looking at your phone, and it's, like, 5 in the morning.
What you played?
It was Stellaris.
Oh fuck! One more turn games are the worst.
It's such a bad game. Whenever you're trying to just I'll play until midnight, and then you know you hear your dad down the hall get up for work, and you know he only gets up at like 6 in the morning. Yeah, that for like the past 2 nights I've done that, and it's fucking awful. But I can't put the game down right now. I've got an
irrational hatred of Stellaris because I loved Galactic Civilizations, which is the same game, except it wasn't Paradox, so they didn't cut it up into 1 million DLCs. And like nobody is fucking heard of it practically. It was great. The second one was quite successful, but the third one didn't do that well. I think the fourth is out now. But and then Stellaris came out because Paradox has got much better marketing.
Yeah.
Everybody bought it, played it, and I was like, this is the same game without any of the features. And then they just piecemeal DLC'd it to everyone.
Yeah, not even gonna lie, I definitely bought every fucking DLC the game has. Like, I know it's a bad purchase, but at the same time, it's just, I don't know, man. It's such a good game.
No, it's the
I
same
love
game,
it.
so it will be a good game. But like, I'm
Isn't
just
Galactic Civilizations, they have effectively the human ships look like they're from Babylon 5?
well, Galactic Civ has a shipbuilder, so you design
Oh,
all
yeah,
of your
right,
ships
that's it.
from
Because
scratch.
I remember looking at them thinking, that looks like it's from Babylon 5. That looks like that was a
Yeah.
really bad idea.
Oh yeah, because in the workshop you can share them obviously, and everybody's done them for all the different sci-fi franchises. But you don't have to. It gives you default ones, but you can design all your ships from scratch, and it's more optimal to do that because you can min-max the way your weapons are laid out and stuff.
Yeah.
The
And-
last game,
Is that right? Go?
no, I was gonna say the last games that I remembered, like the whole one turn was Civilization 4, but the last game that I remember doing it was Dishonored. I just got so immersed in the game, and I was still at my mum and dad's at the time, and I just remember
Fuck.
playing it and playing it and playing it, and it was like from first thing in the morning because it was released, and I literally was just so pulled into the game. I loved it, and my mum came in to my room and it's like, hey Callum, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And she's like, you've not left your room, we're just checking you're all right. And at that point 14 hours had passed and I hadn't got up to pee.
Yeah, no, especially with Dishonored, holy fuck.
When I used to play Worm Online, my longest one was I was up 3 days straight playing it, because I had people that went away and came back and they were like, have you been to bed yet? Dark. And I was like, no. It's fine, I don't feel tired. And I had to make myself go to bed on the third day because I was like hallucinating shit. But you know, you're so wired because your body's pumping adrenaline and all that.
Yeah.
You just can't relax to sleep, and it was really difficult to go to sleep even after 3 days, man.
Yes, seriously, especially with like I said, the past two nights with Stellaris, like, fucking, oh my god! Every time I'm like, okay, if I start to nod my head, I'll go ahead and shut it off and turn and go to bed. But like every single time it happened, I'd be like, nope, wait, I gotta deal with this. Nope, fuck, shit, I gotta upgrade this planet. Fuck.
Yeah, I find it hard to get into games as much now. And it's not the time thing, 'cause I can do that, but it's just not as interesting. I prefer games that are like, you can play for an hour and then just stop. Like roguelikes or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know, just something about the thing is, I've had Stellaris for fucking ever, and it's every now and again I'll play, and it's just for some reason this recent bit my brain is just like, yeah, this is the game that gives me the happy chemicals. Like, I don't know, and I just can't fucking like not play it. Like, even the whole time I'm doing laundry, I'm like, okay, if I do this, this, and this, maybe I can, it's like just strategizing.
Cool.
I think it's always nice when a game does that to you. Like, you're just like, it gives you all the dopamine, happy brain chemicals.
Yeah.
Depends how it's
like,
designed.
honestly-
Sometimes it's nefarious.
Yeah, absolutely. But like, yeah, literally the past 2 nights, the only reason why I put it down and went to bed was because I saw that it was 5, and I was like, okay, if I don't put this down right now, I'm going to have a shit time.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, and even still, my sleep schedule's fucked.
The only game lately that's kind of approached that is Factorio, but that's like such a brain crunchy game. I actually need to take a break because my brain's so exhausted. So like it self-regulates itself weirdly.
Like
Yeah.
you was saying with it's the decisions and the planning you get hooked on, and I can imagine Factorio is, because that is the game, isn't it?
Oh, like the first time I got one of those games was Dyson Sphere Program.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I bought it because I loved the idea because it had an end goal. I didn't quite like Factorio because the end goal was build a rocket and fly away. Whereas this was, you build a Dyson sphere and you can watch it being built. And I went, fuck yeah, give me that. I tried it and this is my first time with any kind of factory management build game. I tried it for a solid hour, and it felt like I was literally smashing my head against a wall. It was smooth brain Callum, right?
Yeah.
I refunded the game, went to bed. I dreamt about it the entire night.
Oh yeah, I've had that.
And then I got up and went, fuck it, I'm giving it another go. And it just all clicked. Like, apparently just that dream made it all suddenly go like, oh, circle go in circle hole.
Yeah, honestly it was, especially with like Factorio and games like that, like they're fun, but like sometimes you get into this point where like you were saying, your brain gets so exhausted that you're like, I can't fucking figure out what I'm supposed to do next, and you literally just have to put it down just to like step away and like go for a walk or something, and then come back and you just instantly fucking solve the problem that you were struggling with like for the past 3 hours.
When I was playing XCOM, the newer ones, I wouldn't play it. I would not play it at night when I was tired, because you would make mistakes.
Oh yeah, definitely. Granted, to be fair, XCOM was kind of like, it's a little iffy with the chances. Like,
I'm playing the original one, and I fired it up again today, and I lost all my guys except one guy on the fucking mission.
oh
And
God.
I was going to play it all afternoon. I was so demoralized. I was like, I'm not playing this.
Yeah.
I tried to play Phoenix Point. Like, one of my friends recommended it. They're like, oh, hey, Callum, you really like Eldritch, and I saw that you did an XCOM playthrough. You'll really like this. I've dropped like 35 hours into it, and I still don't know if I like or dislike the game.
It's a pretty divisive one, that one, because it's just I think it's a good game from what I've seen of it, but it's like, it's not quite as tightly designed as like the newer XCOMs, for instance.
It's kind of as if you've got XCOM 2 and someone barfed a whole bunch of extra things on top of it.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you have 3 human factions that are all warring with each other that you have to manage. So it's like, I don't play XCOM to handle diplomacy. My diplomacy is gun, make alien, die.
But it's good Sculpt's games. He's always trying to like do new stuff and push the envelope a little bit rather than just perfecting the style. Whereas
respect
I feel like
them for their attempt.
I feel like Fire Axis with their XCOM one, that's what they really did. They just like perfected the design, because their design section is so strong, obviously from years of Civ and stuff.
You know, like, I know a lot of people don't like the new XCOM series, but it does feel very polished.
Those people are wrong. Like, playing the old one has the same problem that Xenonauts had for me. Like, this kind of mid game is a bit of a slog to get through to get to the end game, whereas the newer ones, the pacing is set with the story, the plot points in the story and stuff like that. It's always hitting you with a new beat. You know what I mean? Just right at the point where you need it to get you interested again.
But it's also balanced. Like, you never feel like you're dominating, unless your save's coming, but you never feel like you have lost all hope. It's got that fine balance. Whereas Phoenix Point constantly makes you feel that you have spent resources on the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's anxiety simulator extreme, and I think that's why I couldn't enjoy it. I was constantly worried, like, oh no, I spent 2 resources making an ammo clip. What if I needed those 2 resources to build a car?
God, I had to. I never went back to RimWorld because I was getting too invested in my little characters, and I found it too stressful.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Dude, never get Banner Brothers. Jesus.
I actually like ones like that, like get invested in the one, but that one, for some reason, I was just like, I can't go back to that. It was too taxing.
Oh yeah. Jeez, yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, you know, there's nothing you could do about it, and all you could do is just watch everything burn and die, and you're just like, I put so much hours, so much time and blood and sweat and tears into this. Why?
In the same vein, though, that can also be attractive. Like, that's why people do their Iron Man runs and things.
Totally. Oh, I mean, you
Yeah,
want to be invested. Like, that's why I love XCOM 2 so much, because I got so invested in the characters in my first playthrough. I was writing big, long backstories for them all while it was playing.
I think, like, XCOM 2 definitely is way way more fun style. Like, I think that is a fantastic expansion on the universe. Like the whole like your resistance against alien occupation. I really like it.
Yeah, because then it's got the underdog appeal to it as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I haven't played it, but I watched like a let's play of that one, and I've really enjoyed it. Like I was like half tempted to get it, but at the same time I was just like, every now and again I would the guy would like go into a combat mission, and I feel like the RNG would kind of take me out of it quite a bit, because like I've seen so many times of someone going like, okay, point blank with a shotgun, miss completely somehow.
Yeah,
There
but
was-
you can play on easy.
Yeah.
There was a part of me that was thinking like it was like, oh, you only remember the negative, but then like, you know, you sit and you do the number crunch and you're just like, that really wasn't a 95%, was it?
But the thing is, when it says 95%, it's more than 95% because it gives you a reroll.
Oh wow.
Because people are so bad, your mind is so bad at dealing with statistics that if you miss 10 shots in a row and it's 90%, your brain's like, that can't be right, it must be cheating. But that's just how randomness works, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all the figures it gives you in it are actually lower than what they actually are, because it wants you to feel like you're pulling it off more often.
I will say I haven't played XCOM, but I have played this game that's sort of like, I feel like it definitely feels like how I imagine XCOM plays, but it's called Phantom Brigade. It's got like mechs and shit
Yes.
in it. Yeah, that game, that's fun.
Is that the one where the turns happen simultaneously?
Yes, like you're it's all like mechs and shit, and then you're technically you're doing like a predictive sort of thing, and it's so weird. It's like you're programming your team's like combat thing. It's so great, like, because it all happens like I said, it all happens at the same time, and then like you could do some pretty amazing stuff, because if you time it just right, you're like, okay, this bad guy's gonna go here, so if I put this guy in this alleyway here and then just have him shoot right about now, he'll get him right as he like walks past that alleyway, and it's such a fantastic, like,
It's just like Infinity, the tabletop game, except it's a computer game. Somebody needs to make a proper board game, turn-based, that's a fucking computer game, because it doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
Like a multiplayer one. XCOM 2's multiplayer was like that, and then they got fucking rid of it.
Talking tabletop, I probably need to annoy you, Dark, about the models that you linked recently to me, because when I get my house, I want them because they are fucking gorgeous.
Yeah. Like I said, I got drones for them from a Terminator one ages ago, because it was the only place that had drones that looked that kind of style. But yeah, their whole range of soldiers and that are fucking great, man. See, if you were doing like a Shadowrun game and you're using miniatures, it'd be perfect for it.
I think I could see myself doing a lot more like small scale tabletop, like just skirmish size games, because they just seem a lot more fun than
I've
the
had
big
a
massive
kinda
one.
inkling to play one page the last couple of days. But I think that's because my eyes have been so fucked I can't do anything on the computer, so I'm like, I just want to do something.
To be fair, your one page game was fantastic. Like, we got through 3 games in the space of less than one normal game.
Yeah, and you can play them super quick.
Wow.
And you can play the smaller ones, the squad sized ones, and they take like 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
What's awesome, Swindle, is having played regular Games Workshop rules and one page feels more genuine to the factions than Games Workshop does.
Okay, I've never played any of like wargaming type stuff. I will say I've watched like a couple like battle report things, and you know I'm huge like Warhammer Orc fan, but like I've always wanted to play a war game, but I've just never been like, I don't have that much money.
You can play one page rules. I mean, the thing is, you'd have to play 40k rules with people, because fucking you probably won't find enough players locally to play with otherwise.
Yeah.
But the one page rules you can play with, you can buy the STLs and get them 3D printed super cheap.
If
and you can also
want,
use other companies' models for one-page rules. You don't have to use Games Workshop ones.
or
Oh, yeah,
alternatively use Tabletop Simulator. Because as long as one of us has the rules, you can just play it on the computer. You don't need to buy the models.
I've watched somebody play Infinity. That man, it looked awful.
I don't know how like the skirmish games would work, but I think probably one-page rules would work quite well because the rules are a lot more.
I see.
Easy.
Kings of War works for it because it's just blocks and lines, and you can play it online in browser version and stuff like that. But because that one's more 3D, I think if it was VR, it'd be fine. But again, nobody's made one in VR.
Yeah.
I think tabletop you can do in VR.
Yeah, Tabletop Simulator's got a VR thing. I don't.
Yeah, if you're
I
playing in
don't have
VR,
it,
that'd
but
probably
yeah.
work one.
Yeah.
Especially because you can do line of sight and stuff, because then you can get right down and see properly.
Yeah, I might have to check that out sometime.
I kind of wish I still had a copy sitting in my gift. I would have thrown it at you.
That's alright.
Right, Goose. Fucking hell. I like how he's like, get up the road. It's like, you're not even home yet.
I guess he just really enjoys spending time with his dad.
I can imagine his dad's like gabbing though. Do you know what I mean? And he kind of get away.
God, my family's so bad at that. Okay, bye. Follows us out to the porch. Okay, yeah, we're gonna have another conversation. Okay, bye. Follows us to the car. Have another
That's like my
conversation.
mom.
Like the fact that they know about it too, like, you know, I could just go ahead and just be like, yeah, okay, now we're leaving.
So I wanted to listen to last week's last session to try and fucking remember a couple of things, because Eric's friends were going to do a thing with the stuff in the docks. I was going to do that with Paul, but I can't remember what time they'd arranged to meet him and shit like that.
I thought Paul was in the apartment as well.
No, Paul's not with you guys.
Oh, is he not? Oh, okay.
No, because Paul was at the church with Eric and you and Hans. And then they went home that night. And then Eric went to the funeral the next day, and that's where you met Eric. But Paul never went to the funeral.
Oh, and I have to tell Paul that he has a job.
Yes, and you could have told him that when you were in Hans' car.
No, that was after.
What was it?
Yes, that was last session.
You sure about that?
Yes.
I feel like that sounds correct. I can't be too
That
sure
was
though.
last session because remember I went down to speak to the guy about Emil,
Right.
because she hadn't came home, and then
I just thought that was the end of
like,
the other session that happened.
No.
See, this is why I want to go back and listen to them, but I never do. Yeah, I need to get the names of Eric's roommates. I could do this with Paul just now. Fuck, where did they put their names? I've got a lot more notes for this one than I did for the other one, surprisingly.
God, I try to keep notes, but I'm so shit at it.
So basically, we're at the point that there was somebody that was on the sludgy thing, and then also we had the dramatic entrance of a certain lady.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I remember, but I'm just shit at taking notes in general.
Yeah, you three are together, but Paul's separate. So Paul, you were like I said, you just went to that church service at night. You got drove home. Eric would have gone home, and you would have gone home with your family. And that night passes really without event for you. You can hear people like moving around outside and stuff like that during the night. And maybe because you got robbed, you're a little more nervous about it than you would be normally, but nothing happens. And you get through to the next morning, which, and this is again, we'll have to one of those. We're on Tuesday morning, because that was the morning of Sven's funeral. And Eric goes to Sven's funeral, as does Gerta. But I mean, you don't really have any reason to be going to Sven's funeral. So
Okay.
I imagine you're just doing what you normally do, and you get up and you're going out looking for work, and just trying to pick something up that day.
Sounds about right.
And this is another reason I went to listen back, because I don't have a description for these guys. So when you're setting out for work, you're standing about for a couple hours in the morning, or maybe even only an hour, and it's early morning, when you're approached by one of the men that you recognise as one of Eric's roommates.
Okay.
The one
All right,
who-
lads.
Yeah, so there's one called Jens, or Jens. I can't remember what his bloody description was like. But I'm imagining he's a more kind of wiry kind of guy. And he's kind of like the leader of that little group, more so than Eric even. He's the one that's generally given directions and things like that. And you maybe spoken to him and had a cigarette with him a few times. So yeah, he'll come up and approach you and say, hello, Mr. Cummings. I don't suppose you've seen Eric around this morning?
Sorry, Paul just sort of takes a moment to think about it, just in case he saw him walking around, to inside. Shake his head. Nah, not this morning, I'm afraid.
I was wondering if I could have a word with you away from his motions to the crowd of people that are standing around waiting for work.
Paul nods, probably just smoking a cigarette. He sort of stubs it out and comes with.
Yeah, so he takes you winding through, the little streets of the tent city to a corner that's a little quieter. He says, I didn't want to ask you in front of everyone else, but I have a business proposition for you, if you'd be interested. It does require a small investment.
At this, Paul will just sort of give a very small, light-hearted sort of chuckle. As more of a, sort of with the hands going like, you know where we are, right? Money's not exactly rich everywhere.
Yeah, I'm aware of Mr. Cummings. I also know that you and Eric did a little work recently, and that you both got paid for that work. So I was hoping perhaps you might be in a situation where you could help us out with this situation.
Well, firstly, what is it? And secondly, how much money you needing?
Well, I'm guessing Eric can't mention to you, but me and him were at the docks the other day, and there's a ship that's been lying there for some time, and it has cargo that has been left abandoned. We were planning on finding the owner of the cargo and offering it to them at a discount. So the money we'd be expecting back for this, even if we had to take it for scrap, would easily cover the initial cost that we're asking for. We need to hire someone with a truck to actually transport it because it's quite heavy. But it should cover the costs for that, and then we would split the rest between us, profit-wise.
Just speaking sort of meta-ish, I'm guessing these are guys Paul has interacted with for quite a while. It's the same group that Eric's in, and he's kind of mingled with them. They're not really strangers, but they're not they're a bit more than acquaintances, I'm guessing.
Yeah, their English isn't as good as Eric, so you've not spoken to them as much. But if you're friends with Eric, I mean, you would definitely have met them and conversed with them, and maybe even had a drink with them a couple of times.
Yeah. Curious, the thing is, has he sort of gestured roughly whereabouts the docks is with his hand? Sort of saying the docks, and then sort of waved his hand in the general direction of where
I don't think
it is.
he would gesture, no. I think he might assume you know what docks he's referring to.
The reason I was asking it is, remember there was a few sessions ago where Paul was staring off into the water, and
Yes.
he saw eerie shapes, and I'm just wondering if that's in the direction of roughly the docks that he is mentioning.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, maybe your mind's putting that together.
Yeah, so Paul's letting that think, and he'll probably have a moment of where he's a bit quiet before responding. Probably gives off the look that he's thinking about it. Instead, that's what he is thinking about, not like whether he wants to spend the money. It's the, cool, creepy monster things. But he shakes it off, brushes it aside, and just goes, right, how much are you needing from me then for this? What's my contribution?
Well, we're trying to put together $5.
Paul would probably whistle about this. Just gonna have a look. Yeah, okay, I can afford that. I've got $20, so like, because I think I avoided a whole bunch when I got ransacked. Yeah, Paul would sort of just say, all right, let me go, just stay here a few minutes. I'll go and see what I could do. When do you need the money by? He will.
Yeah, it's like, well, we weren't trying to do it this morning. I was hoping Eric would be back by now, but he must be delayed in whatever he's doing.
Yeah, but fast forwarding, there's that whole narrative, but Paul eventually would fork over the money.
So he doesn't take the money off you, and he's just like, okay, right, well, we have a friend who has a truck, and he's going to drive it for us. If you want, you can come along to make sure that, the job is performed the way I'm describing to you. You're perfectly happy to come along and come with us. It might even be advantageous if we have someone who has a better grasp of the English language.
Sort of not. You may all be onto something there. That's a fair good idea. I'll come help you.
So you and him meet up with the guy Ollie, who's the big heavy set drinker guy, and his face is always red from drink and blood pressure. So he's got a big smile on his face. He doesn't speak a word of English, and he just greets you in Norwegian, which I'm imagining you're kind of used to greeting by now, at least.
Yeah, probably a bit rough. So instead of saying like hello, he just says skål because he thinks that's like a Swedish greeting. Instead, he's saying cheers to the drunk.
Yeah, I mean, he's quite happy, but he's just going to nod, pat you on the shoulder and stuff. And then says something to you, I've got no idea what he says. And Jens just kind of gives you a thumbs up, like, he's okay. Yeah,
it's like that rough that there is the hand language that he's picked up with these guys, because I mean they're working in a country that's predominantly English, so I imagine they've mastered the art of speaking in physical language rather than words.
Conveying and communicating their intentions and stuff. Yeah. So once you meet up and the three of you go and walk up to the main road, and then you go up, I think it's south, towards where the docks are. And you are just kind of like standing around outside, and the guy's checking his wristwatch. It's like, okay, well, our friend's going to show up here about 9:30, and if we're able to pay him, then we'll pay him, and then we'll take it from there. And at 9:30, one of these little, oh god, how do you describe them? The trucks of the era, the ones that used as delivery vans for. You always see them delivering olive oil in the mafia movies.
Oh gosh, for some reason my brain is only filling up with a milk truck, and I'm like, that's the wrong image. I can kind of vaguely get an idea of what it is, but every time I'm just thinking of a milk truck.
They look kind of like the Model T.
It kind of looks the same.
Yeah, they kind of look like the Model T. They've got the arches over the wheels. It's like a full body. There's no windows or anything on it. There might be window panels at the back doors, and then it has a hood over the section where the driver sits. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So that kind of style one. So that will trickle up. I imagine it is for something like a lumberyard or something would be the signage on the sign of it. And they have a conversation, and the guy is clearly also Scandinavian at least. And then he comes over to you and he's like, okay, if you wouldn't mind paying the man, and he's going to take us inside, and he motions at the docks. I'm going to go speak to the security guard to make sure we get let in. And it's at this point you realise that what you're doing is not entirely legitimate.
I think Paul just sort of brushes it aside. I genuinely think Paul's had to accept some rule bending with his time in Tin City. Like some of the jobs he's done, he knows is for probably mafia and things, and he just needs the money.
Sure, yeah. And it's, you know, it's early morning, it's a weekday. It doesn't feel like you're doing anything super sketchy at this time of day. You imagine criminals are always doing like things at night undercover, so if you're doing it in the middle of the day, it can't be that bad.
I think that's like Paul's sort of like in his head, just sort of brushing off like it's a little bit dodgy, but it's rule bending, not breaking.
Because as you said, it's stuff that's been abandoned here, and you're just, you know, making sure it gets to the rightful owner.
Also, let's be honest, he's probably focusing on that aspect a lot more than he really should be, because it's stopping him from dwelling on the monsters that he saw.
So you guys pile in this little truck. Security guard lets you into the docks. The docks are fairly busy. There's a lot of ships still coming in, passengers and freight and such. But you just drive past all the activity to the far end, where the dock is more deserted, and you can see there's a couple of ships there, and one of them in particular, a steamer, looks as if it's been sitting there for quite some time. It's got a lot of like barnacles and green algae over the bottom of it. Most of the rigging stuff you'd expect to see on the upper deck is gone and bare, so presumably it's been taken away. And you just reverse and pull up the side of this ship, and Jens motions to you. Okay, this is the boat. There's a few crates down in the lower deck in the cargo hold. Me and Eric saw them previously. They're quite large. We opened up a couple of them, so we'll just need to try and figure out between us the best way to get that stuff out and into the truck, and we want to take as much of it as possible. Going onto the ship itself, there's a kind of eeriness about it. It looks very barren, like I said, as if it's been lying for quite a time, quite weather beaten.
I imagine it's like that wrongness of like walking through a shopping centre where there's no people. Like there should be people, but there's not. It's that kind of sensation.
And even though you can see people across the way on the other, the other piers and stuff, and it's all hustle and bustle activity and it's sunny, it's just like at this one spot, it just feels like it's greyer, cloudier, colder. You know, you can feel like the breeze from the water here, and there's a chill going through you.
I think Paul would brush it off, or try to, that it's just because it's an exposed position, ignoring the fact that it's sheltered. It's just like, nope, it's just more exposed.
They throw open the hatch to the lower deck, and there's something about the fact that it's a dark opening descending into darkness that just starts giving you flashbacks of the various dark, spooky areas that you've had to descend into, and the sort of things that lurk within them. But the others don't seem bothered by this, of course, and they just troop down the stairs one by one.
Yeah, I think there would probably be a moment of hesitation. Like, I imagine like Paul was probably at the front, and like he had this sharp memory of going into those catacombs underneath Edinburgh when the door was opened, and like that kind of sort of flashback moment that he could only imagine the tunnel, and just about to imagine a thing coming out when one of the guys walks past him into it, snapping him out of it, and then he'll follow along.
You descend the steps, and as you do, subconsciously you've picked up the name of the boat from outside, and it's only now that for some reason it's sort of lingering in your mind, the peaceful dream. And there's something about that just unnerves you with the atmosphere as you descend into the hold, which is dark and only lit by the one gas light that one of the men has lit.
Would it be fair to say that he probably brought like a tool belt along, just because like just thinking because he's expecting to move crates and stuff, that he'd bring there's just a couple of cheap tools with him?
There's a couple of, I think we established this earlier, there's a couple of hammers and chisels and stuff like that lying around in here anyway.
Alright, he's not picking up for a weapon, it's just more just to get the idea that he's got like something on his like a belt or something.
Yeah, I mean, if he has like a little crowbar or something like that he just keeps handy, sure. I mean, those things aren't really worth anything anyway, so. It'd be more useful to hold on to one if you had one.
But he wouldn't have it in his hands. Like his hands are free for moving. It's just,
Yeah.
I guess, just prepared for the work.
So there's a half dozen or so crates that is left in here, and those ones are quite large. I mean, you're a big guy, and they're coming up to eye level with you. One of them is being opened. You can see all the sawdust packings came out, and there's all these circular, curved pieces of brass that are being welded together, kind of poking out from the hay. I think you'd probably recognise that it's something that has, had a deal of craftsmanship to put together. It's not some, it's not just haphazardly bolted together pieces of metal. This is something that someone has spent a great deal of time detailing and designing. I don't know if you want to. You can see there's like ornate designs as well carved into the brass, etched into it.
I think he'd probably sort of look at it for a little bit and probably instinctively like run his finger over it just to sort of feel if it's like engraved.
But I was hoping you'd do that. Can you roll a dice for me against your sanity, your stress?
No worries. So I've got 2 stress at the moment. And it's 2 dice, so 2d6.
Just one. I want you to roll.
1 dice. 4.
Okay, so your stress is going to go up. You run your finger along it.
I
And
imagine.
your mind is taken to, it's like a jungle. But I mean, you've never been to a jungle yourself, but it looks like a dense rainforest. There are things slithering over the ground, up the trees. The plants look odd colours. They're hues of like violet and blue and red rather than green, like you might expect, a regular jungle to be like. The plants are all twisted and curved in strange ways, and instead of leaves, they have these large, like upturned sucker pads looking shapes. It's very peculiar. The sky is not the right colour. It's a kind of greenish hue rather than blue. And the sun in the distance looks a lot more kind of like red than it does yellow.
I think he definitely would imagine this was a very sudden, like, boom, just suddenly he's there. Yeah. He'd probably shout out loud, startled yelp, and probably backtrack, bumping into like a tree that's behind him, spinning, and takes him like a few seconds to kind of realize he's not in New York anymore. And like he probably feels like he can actually feel some maybe like wind in the air or something like that.
Yes, and as you do that, then you hear a voice that's kind of like croaky and whispery, and something touches you on the shoulder.
And I think Paul would probably snap around to the direction from where he was touched from.
And you turn around, and the big, large man, Ollie, is standing in front of you, softly illuminated by the gaslight in the lower hold. He has a look of concern on his face, and he's saying something to you in Norwegian. And he's like, okay.
It's like, I think Paul would be wide-eyed. Probably this very visible cold sweat like is dripping down the side of his head as he sort of like is looking around the place, rubbing his eyes, like blinking a few times. Like he just and he like raises his hands up, palms out. He's like, okay, just he understands, like just simple, like then replaces his hands with 2 thumbs up, like all good.
The other 2 guys are busy, like moving a crate to them, and they just look over at you, and Jens shouts over, "Is this everything okay over there?"
Yeah, all good. Just thought I saw something. And he sort of looks at the bronze embossing and just tries not to go near it again. And probably heads over to try and help move some of the crates, but keeps an eye on not touching that crate.
Yes, and then it will take you a little while, because you're going to have to move things around, and you don't have the rigging and all that to pull the crates out. You probably need to take them apart and outside and stuff, so it's going to take you a while to load them up into the truck. So while you're doing that, Hello, Goose.
Hi guys. Sorry, been on for a little while. I was just taking a chance to get something to eat.
So, you three remember where you were in Rocky's apartment, yeah?
Yep.
So we had Eric and Gerta. You were standing just sort of at the doorway of the kitchen, going into the living room. Rocky was in the kitchen. He had a pair of tongs or something, and he'd picked up this almost starfish-looking slug-like creature with the face on the underside of it. And was it a coffee jar or was it just a glass jar you were trying to put it into?
I think it was just like a glass jar.
So you got like a big jam jar that you're trying to put it into. And just as that was happening and you turned it over to reveal the face on the underside, you heard a voice coming from the other room. And it was the voice of Angela. And she was like, you know, Rocky, who are you talking to? Do you have someone in here? And at that point, Rocky went temporarily insane.
Yeah. Like you do.
I guess since that's the moment you crack and you have these things in your hand and the voice, what happens?
If I remember correctly, I think I said I became unstable for the temporary insanity.
Okay, so like what do you physically or emotionally do at that point where it just
But
snaps?
yeah, I think honestly I just like freeze, and I might drop the jar, but yeah, I think Rocky just is freezing and is like kind of like going tunnel visioned and is just like, wait, no, hold on, that can't be right because she's not supposed to be here.
Do you want to roll a dice to see if you drop the jar?
Sure. Oh god.
Yes. I think with a 1, you don't just drop the jar, you let go of the tongs. You don't drop them, but you loosen the grip on them, and the slug starfish thing also plops to the ground.
No.
Yeah, Gerta, I mean, you probably notice that. How do you react when you see him drop that thing to the ground?
I'm backing off. I'm like, I back off from that shit.
The glass hits the floor and smashes. And then there's another voice, a man's voice, from the living room. Stand back, Angela. What's going on in there?
Do I recognize the man's voice?
Do you while you're in your hysterical state?
Yeah, I was about to say, like, actually, yeah, no, fuck it, no, I'm not even, I don't know anything right now. I just know that I heard Angela.
So again, Rocky, I mean, you drop that with fright when you hear it. You freeze up for a second. Your mind goes into overdrive, and the pressure and the stress of the moment, it's just a little too much, and that's just when you just lose it.
Yeah, I completely ignoring what just happened. I am going to just, whoever's in my way is probably getting shoved out of the way, but I'm going to make my way towards the sound of Angela's voice. Like I've got to visually confirm that I didn't just hear what I heard.
You step out, ignoring the thing you just dropped. You step out into the living room, and you don't see Angela, but you can see a man standing at the doorway of the living room that leads out into the hall, which leads out into the lobby, or the stairwell. And you recognise that man. That's that Dr. Combs that drove you to the hospital yesterday.
What are you doing here? Where is she? And
Oh,
I'm gonna
Ricky
try
B,
to like
you're
shove
here.
past him.
It's like, oh, Ricky B, calm down. And Angela is standing behind him. She looks kind of drained, tired. She's got a long, like, white hospital gown on and a man's jacket over her shoulders.
You're You're not supposed to be here. You're not here.
She just looks at you, kind of confused. What do you talk about, Rocky? Why wouldn't I be here? We live here.
You're supposed to be in the hospital.
She says, well, I was, but I'm home now. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the doctor's first name. It wasn't James.
Give her a glass of wine. Give her a glass of wine.
Yeah, I think Rocky's just like denying this reality and is just like, no, you're not supposed to be here. You can't be here. You're supposed to be at the hospital where the other doctor's supposed to be taking care of you, and blah 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 blah. And it's just like you can't be here.
I can't find his name. I'm just going to pretend it's Jim.
I mean, it's a fairly common name, so yeah.
But just because there was a note earlier you found that had his first name on it. Yeah, she says, well, I was in the hospital, but James brought me home. And the doctor, he stands right behind you and he gingerly, puts one hand on your shoulder. It's like, Rickaby, calm down. Everything's okay. You signed the papers, remember, to take her home? Well, when I came in this morning and saw that she was still in the ward, I took it upon myself to sign her out and bring her home.
I didn't sign the papers.
Of course you did. When we were at the nurse's station, remember you filled out the forms?
But he said she had to stay.
Yeah, he lowers his voice a little bit and kind of looks at the other two people that are standing at the other end of the room. Yes.
Eric, get the glass. Because I'm still thinking about that sludge. Get the glass.
Is the thing that's out of the glass moving at all? Is it?
Oh yes, it had a kind of soft thud splat, like a wet sponge hitting the floor when it landed. And then it's just very weakly sort of like feeling its way around in a circular motion and pulling itself towards the cabinet units where there's a gap underneath them.
Can I see anything like around that's big enough, to contain it at all? Like a pan or anything?
I think there would definitely be like a dustpan lying in the kitchen. Yeah, that makes sense.
Sure, I'll try and grab that and cover, put it on top of the thing to trap it in place.
Yeah, you grab one and just place it on top of it. If the thing had any kind of strength, it would be able to, brush that off or push past it. But it seems to weigh it down enough for now, at least. It doesn't seem to be squirming or wriggling its way out from the gaps where the handle would be. The doctor lowers his tone to you, Rickaby. He's like, I should discuss that with you, but perhaps not in front of all these people. Angela, he says, you should really lie down. You shouldn't be on your feet too long.
She needs to be back in the hospital immediately.
She pushes you playfully. She's like, don't be silly, Rocky. He's like, fix me a drink, would you? I've got a terrible headache.
Rocky's gonna actually try to physically block her from entering the apartment.
Yeah, she looks at you, confused and a little intimidated. What's wrong, Rocky?
You can't be here. You have to be in the hospital right now. You can't be here. You're not here.
But James says it was fine. I could go home. I feel fine, honestly. I just have a headache.
But he didn't take it out.
What are you talking about?
I'll probably like not so gently grab her shoulders and just kind of like hold her and just be like, did he take it out?
Rourke, what are you doing? That you're hurting me. Doctor behind you kind of like grabs you by the shoulders. He's like, Rickaby, really, there's no need for that. She's perfectly well. I've examined her.
Yeah, I'll let her go and kind of just wheel around on him and be like, you examined her. Did you take it out?
Take what out? What are you talking about?
The thing that's inside of her.
He looks around again as if he should really be discussing things in front of other people. So I think we should talk about that, away from. He nods over to other people.
Rocky grabs him and like tries to like just hold him there and be like, you need to tell me now, immediately.
Angela starts getting agitated and she like grabs you and she's like, Rourke, no, what are you doing? The doctor just, puts his hands back as if he's like trying not to be threatening.
Yeah, Rocky's fully focused on the doctor, trying to get try to get the information out of him. Like, you need to tell me right now. Did you take it out? Did he take it out? What is wrong with her? Why is she here? Like, blah, blah, just like obviously losing.
I
my
want
fucking
answers.
Mind, but, yeah, I'm just practically screaming at him a bunch of questions, not giving him a chance to answer, just probably shaking him a bit, like, trying to interrogate him.
Yeah, I mean, a lot harder than you're meaning to as well. You're probably like slamming him against the wall repeatedly.
For sure.
So you have intimidation.
Yes.
I'm not sure anything else really applies. Strong will, maybe, if you have it.
I do.
So 2 dice.
Ooh.
Rickaby, please, I'm on your side here. I'm just here to help. I didn't mean anything by it. I thought we agreed that getting her home was the best thing to do. I didn't take anything out of anybody.
But you examined her. What's wrong with her?
As I said before, I think she's had some sort of concussion. She's clearly she's had a minor head injury in the back of her skull. But it doesn't appear to be anything serious. I don't see any signs of neurological trauma.
But did you check inside her throat or her guts? There's something in there.
No, Rickaby, as I told you, we should discuss this in private. There are some things I'm not sure we should be saying in front of these other people.
I'll slam him into the wall again, like, tell me!
And then Angela gets agitated because she's like, what other things? And she's kind of like joining you in pushing him and getting in his face and saying, what's he talking about? What's inside me?
I interject and just go that, look in the frying pan, there is a sludgy thing, and that was inside you.
They all turn around to look at you, Gerta. And Angela sort of composes herself and goes, and who are you exactly?
You know who I am? We've worked together. Gerta!
Oh, Gerta, I'm sorry. What's she doing here, Rocky?
I'm like completely focused on the doctor.
I've been helping with the investigation because there was another woman that what's called do you remember it's her name's just went out of my head.
Nancy.
What was her name
Nancy.
again? Nancy. You know Nancy? Nancy's dead.
This appears to have some sort of effect on Angela, and her face just like loses any colour it had. And she reaches out and puts one hand on you, Rocky. Rocky, I need to sit down. And then she faints and crashes to the floor.
Did your cats just meow in the background there?
Yes.
One cat. The other one's sleeping beside me.
She's being greedy. She's been fed like twice, and she's like wanting attention and more food. She's a greedy cat.
Yeah, so Eric, after you've put the pan on it and all these people are yelling at each other, what are you doing?
I think, given the way this is heading, I'll try and check that the pan is weighed down enough that it's not going to move it. Maybe like look for something to kind of secure the pan, like even just like a heavy book or something that I could put to keep it in place.
I think they would have a cookbook at this kind of time period. So yeah, they're probably one of those in the kitchen.
Sure. Okay. I'd grab that and weigh it down, and then I'd probably be trying to like calm Rocky down a bit and say, like we've just got to take our time and find out what's going on here. Everything's okay. We're going to sort this out. Like trying to like stop him full on attacking the doctor if I can.
I think probably at this stage, it's probably a very, very very likely thing to happen. Like Rocky probably like brings a fist back to about to do it, and then Eric like catches his attention just before.
Yeah. I'll just try and like gently calm you down if I can. Just like it's okay. We're gonna sort this out. Everything's gonna be okay.
Do you have understanding, Eric?
I do, I believe, yeah.
Do you have an interpersonal skill that would apply, like negotiation, perhaps, or reassurance?
I think I have reassurance. Just a second, I'll check the sheet.
Reassurance would be better, yeah. I'm kind of sure, Laura, you had 4, because I think you and Eric had 4.
I do. I have negotiation.
No, you had 4 stress. Because I'm sure you and Eric both had 4 stress at the end of the last one.
Oh, I actually do have 4 stress. Actually, that was wrong sheet. Yeah. I have 4 luck and 4 stress.
Okay.
I've got reassurance, yeah.
Okay, do you want to roll 2 dice then?
Sure.
But yeah, Rocky, so Eric, he doesn't fully convince you, but he definitely does, like, bring you down a tone.
Yeah, I'll probably like, I'll obviously lower my fist, but I'll let the doctor kind of just go.
As soon as you let him go, he gets down on his knees and he's like, Angela, are you all right? And he starts, turning her over and checking her eyes.
I'm just fixated on the I'm a distance away, but fixated on that pan underneath the sludgy thing.
So we know pans, they're kind of like an angle to the handle, so when it's sat over it, there's like this gap. And just in that shadowy gap, you can just see the slight squirm of one of its appendages.
Eric, it's moving again. Is there anything else that we could just like put under it? Have you got any more jars, Rickaby?
The doctor looks up at you, Rocky. He's like, what's she talking about, Rickaby?
Doctor, come over here and see it.
I can't.
Rocky's kind of like just checked out and is just like not necessarily staring at Angela, but is definitely just like staring off into deep space in that general direction.
We need to get her on the couch or into the bedroom. Like, she shouldn't be lying on the floor here. We need to prop her up. Can someone help me, please?
If Rocky's like kind of zoned out right now, I'll try and help the doctor.
You get her by the knees, and he gets her under the arms, and the two of you lift her through to the bedroom and place her on the bed. And she just kind of whimpers softly and starts opening her eyes. And it takes her a minute to kind of come to and realise where she is. What happened? The doctor tries to comfort her. He says, You're home now, Angela. You're in bed. Just relax, rest. We'll get you something to drink, okay?" And he comes back through to the living room, looks at Rocky, and takes a step back, and then sidles up next to you, Eric. I'm sorry, I really need to talk to Rocky, but he doesn't look as if he's in the right state of mind.
He's been through a lot. He's having a hard time dealing with all this.
Doctor, have you got a minute?
Yeah, of course, I'll need to be getting back before the hospital notices that I've left, but yes.
You look under the frying pan.
And he turns his head to the pan on the floor with the cookbook on top of it in the kitchen. Why? What do you have there?
We think it's like some kind of a parasite. We don't rightly know what it is ourselves, but there's something like this creature seems to have been affecting people at the Tin City encampment, and we think maybe this is what's affected Angela. We don't know.
And there's a face of Nancy, the one that died in this very room. It's got her face on the sludge.
You can see in his face that he's processing, and he's like, this is what Ricky B was speaking about before, the parasite.
Yes.
Where was it? Where did you find it?
Hiding in the cupboard.
It was in the apartment. We believe it came out of one of the other victims.
I'm sorry, and you're saying it's large enough that you had to hide it under this pan?
It seems to be the case, yes.
Okay, he looks around and says, do we have a coffee tin? Something?
I'll look around to see if I can see anything suitable, like a tin with a lid.
Do you have any tins, Rocky? Probably one for a sewing kit or coffee, I would
You
imagine.
would have one for like a tea, wouldn't you, or something, or coffee? Yeah, you definitely have one coffee.
Yeah, definitely coffee.
Okay, so he takes coffee one, just pours the coffee out on the counter, and then with his foot just sort of lifts up the pan, and he sees the thing just sitting there squirming, and for a second there's just a shock, confusion, and also intrigue as he just kind of looks at it over at different angles.
See how it's got a face?
I suppose that could be construed as looking a little like a face, but that's coincidental. It's not someone's face. You're just human beings have a tendency to see faces in things.
It really is her face.
This can't be the parasite that we've been referring to. It's far too large for something like that. It looks almost like some kind of starfish.
It's not.
Is it
anyone?
Is it possible that pieces of this like a small piece of this could make its way into someone?
Well, I suppose it's possible. Perhaps its offspring, if they were small enough, could cause infection of some sort. Let's just try and he reaches down with the tin and kind of awkwardly hovers over it, trying to figure out how to scoop it up. And he takes his right hand and just kind of comes around from one side of it with his fingers to try and flip it over into the tin. Is anyone going to stop him?
Don't do it.
Don't touch it. Be very careful.
It's fine. He rolls up his sleeve and leans backwards so his face isn't close to it. I'm just going to slide it into the tin. The second his skin makes contact with it, he lets out a yell of pain, and he pulls his hand away from it, and the thing is attached to the skin of his fingers.
Is there like any
It's
liquor?
alcohol.
Yeah, is there any is there like a liquor bottle nearby anywhere?
Oh, there for sure should still be, like, if anything, there should still be the original bottle that I poured the drink for Nancy on the table.
After she fell into the drinks tray.
Oh
But-
yeah, no, never mind. Well, either way, there should be some bottles somewhere.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I'll make a grab for the nearest liquor bottle and then like try and dump it over the creature and the part of the doctor it's touching.
And the doctor, yelling and waving his arm about, puts his hand over the sink and puts the tap on, tries to like wash it off and wiggles his hand.
I think you might need to get like your hand amputated.
Don't be ridiculous. Just give me a knife or something.
Yeah, hands on my knife.
Was I able to tip the alcohol over it? Or-
Yeah, you run over the alcohol. Gertrude goes for a knife. The two of you come over to the sink. The thing is already shriveled up to just like almost like a giant saggy tea bag stuck to the end of his fingers. The face on it is kind of like folded itself inwards. The skin all just like curling in. You throw the alcohol, just like a splash of it over his hands, and there's a hissing sound, and the thing detaches itself from his fingers and plops into the sink. The ends of his fingers you can see are all bloody and raw as if the skin's been ripped off them. And he falls back, against the counter, just breathing heavily.
Have you got get as much alcohol as possible and just splosh it on it?
Is the thing in the sink like if it's shriveled up? I think my first thought would probably be to try and pour some alcohol over the doctor's hand to like sterilize it a bit.
Yeah, and I think you recognise what you're doing with that, and he nods, agreeing that that's probably the best thing. Well, it's clearly a toxic creature, perhaps some kind of venomous mucus on the skin. Okay, I wasn't quite prepared for that. How stupid of me! I should have listened to you, dear. I'm sorry. It sniffs this. Oh, I can feel the adrenaline pumping through me already. It stands up straight. Like, flexes his hand. And then looks at his fingers. Well, you can see the alcohol must have done its job, because already the bloodiness at the end of his fingers seems to kind of like be healing over.
That doesn't sound too normal.
It must, perhaps it was its own blood, or perhaps just an irritation of the skin. It couldn't have taken the skin all the way off. It wouldn't grow back that quickly. Well, that was quite an experience. Thank you, Mr.
Lundgren, are you sure you're all right, Doctor?
No, just heart beating a little fast, but I feel good. Yes, I feel fine.
I think you need to go and get your blood tested just to check, just in case.
That's probably a smart idea, my dear. Yes, I'll do that when I get back to hospital. I think I'm okay. Just give me a second. And he, like, puts his fingers up to his throat and counts his pulse. No nausea. No signs of discoloration. Okay, I think it's okay. I don't think it's venomous. You are right though. I should go to hospital and get checked out. I need to go back to hospital anyway. They'll be missing me. Rickaby, I didn't have time to tell you. And he steps out into the living room again. What are you doing, Rickaby, after this happened?
Probably kneeling beside Angela and is just like staring at her as if like she's a complete and total stranger to me.
She'll be looking at you and brushing your hair. Lord Rocky, what have you done to yourself? You look terrible. You look like you haven't slept in days.
I went looking for you.
I think that conversation was probably interrupted from the yelling from the other room. And she was sat upright and tried to get out of bed and immediately realised that she's too dizzy and she can't get up.
Yeah, I'd probably look in that direction, but I probably would just like do my best to stay beside her.
Yeah, and you can hear them yelling and all the rest of it. And she puts her like one hand around your arm. I'm okay, Rocky. I don't really remember what happened, but James said, Dr. Combs said that I was in some sort of vehicle accident and I might have banged my head. What's going on out there? What are they all yelling about? Why are those people in our house?
How are you in a vehicle accident? You took the bus.
Well, he said I was in some sort of accident. And that's why I've been in the hospital. He said I've been under sedation. And that's why I can't remember anything.
Nancy said someone grabbed her. Grabbed you.
But Gerta said something happened to Nancy. Did she die?
I went looking for you, and I found Nancy instead, and she died. But you have to remember, you're not supposed to be here.
What are you talking about? This is our home. Of course I'm supposed to be here. Where else would I be? At that point, Eric and the doctor come into the room. The doctor comes up to you and puts his hand on his shoulder. Again, Rocky. Rickaby, I've got to go, but I really need to speak to you, though.
Yeah, he'll stand up and follow the doctor.
He leans down to Angela and he says, you take rest now, drink plenty of fluids. I'll come and check up on you later on today, okay? And he kisses her on the forehead.
Doctor, are you not going to take her blood as well, just to check?
Her blood? No, I don't think that's necessary. Rickaby, a moment, please.
Yeah, Rocky will follow. Like trying to, definitely torn between like staring at Angela and then following the doctor, but eventually he'll follow the doctor.
You can see him like flexing and looking at his fingers as he walks along to the door of the apartment. When you get to the doorway, kind of hushed tone. Rickaby, I know you left last night and you didn't sign her out properly to take her with you, but I finished off the documentation today when I came in for my shift. They had her scheduled with a psychiatrist, a Dr. Richter. Now, I don't know if you're aware, but Dr. Richter has a certain reputation in the medical circles, and he doesn't prescribe to some of the new theories about how the mind works, and he's quite intent on physical removal of ailments that he believes affects the mind and mental health. The thought of him slicing her up, I couldn't stand for it, Rickaby, and I signed her out this morning because of that. I thought you would agree.
I do agree, but
Well, I don't know what Cavendish said to you, but from what I could see in our records, there was no reason for her to be in the hospital. She has a minor concussion at best. I know we discussed something else. I didn't see any sign of anything. Nothing like what you had in your kitchen just now. And quite honestly, I'm not sure what they can do for her in the hospital that we couldn't just take care of here at home. But either way, I don't think admitting her to a psychiatrist intent on removing pieces of her at random is the way to go about this.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, Rocky's just like definitely try to weigh which one is worse. Like, on one hand, Cavendish said, she has to stay here because he's her only hope. But, James is like, oh man, yeah. He's definitely just very visibly trying to wrestle with these two different evils and is trying to weigh down which one's the lesser.
Yeah, and you can see you're shaking. You're not in fit condition. It's like, Ricky, have you even slept since last night?
No, I haven't slept. I haven't eaten.
Well, get yourself some breakfast and a stiff drink, and then take some rest. The both of you are here. You're at home. You're safe. Just take it easy for today. Have your friends help out. I'll stop by later on, but I have to get back to the hospital just now.
Yes,
Are
Doctor.
you not? I just can't come out and say, are you not going to take the sludge thing with you?
I don't think taking it with me would do any good just now. If you can keep it in a container, maybe put it in an ice box, keep it cold, keep it frozen, preserve it, and we can study it later. I'll try and reach out to a friend of mine who has a laboratory. But I've really got to go to Rocky. They're going to notice that I've left, and then they'll put two and two together. He slaps you on the shoulder. It's like, you get some rest, okay? Make sure you eat something.
Thank you, Doctor. Sorry,
No, don't apologise. You take care of her now, okay?
Yeah, and Rocky will just kind of like very like almost zombie-like, just kind of nod his head and then just shuffle back into the apartment, just drained of energy.
Eric, I think putting the sludgy thing in the coffee tin and just filling it up with alcohol might be like a good shout.
Sure.
Not alcohol. Just fill it up with water. We got to keep it together in one piece.
Yeah, but what the doctor was saying about freezing it sounds like it might be a good idea.
Just go back into the kitchen and look at the sink, and there's very little of the thing left. It is shriveled up to a crisp.
Do you have a pair of tweezers or something that we could use to pick it up with?
Tongs.
Oh yeah.
It's not moving at all, is it?
No. I mean, in a way, it kind of looks like the dried corpse that was discovered before. It itself is all dried up and shriveled. Flaky looking.
Just kind of stare at the little shriveled nugget, and it's just like, this is the source of all of my problems right here.
I think I'll probably assume that Rocky's still kind of shaking and not feeling so great, so I'll get the tongs and try to pick what's left of the thing up and put it into the box. But I'll keep any liquor that's left nearby just in case.
Rocky, are you wanting to score out anything as you kind of restore your sanity?
Oh man, yeah.
You have a people, a place, an item, and something else. You need to score one of them out permanently, and you can restore all of your stress. You guys on 4 can do that as well if you want, or you can wait until you hit the temporary insanity at 5 to do it.
I think I'll score something out.
Yeah, that sounds like it might be a good idea. So was it A person, a place, or an item, I think were the three things.
Yes. Who do you care about? Where do you find peace? What gives you comfort? And who are you? Who are you should probably be the last thing you score out, because you don't want to start forgetting who you are.
I want to score out Oscar.
If you're going to score out who do you care about, you're scoring out Emil, because as I said, you can only have one person
No.
in who you care about. It can't be a list of people.
Okay. I'm scoring out violin group.
Okay, yeah. So you no longer find the group at church peaceful.
Well, this is just the violin group at church.
Yeah, I think I'm also gonna score out Where Do I Find Peace, which is my apartment currently.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that seems sensible. I was thinking I might take the item because I think I was relying on like a compass that I've always had with me. But
find your way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was sorry. I was just gonna say I think it would be reasonable to assume that given everything that's happened, I could well have lost it somewhere along the way. So
Yeah, I mean, perhaps you're finished doing the alcohol thing and you're padding down your pockets and you realise it's gone. And rather than that making you in a panic, you just kind of dismiss it. Just like, oh, what does it matter? It's just an item.
Yeah, I was going to say mine is the violin, so I'm just going to get rid of the violin.
Yeah.
So I'm still part of the church. I'm just getting rid
Okay,
of the violin.
yeah, sure. Singing group, yeah. Wow, you guys have kind of come to terms with all that.
It's not the singing group, it's just the violin.
I know you're keeping the singing group. You're getting rid of the violin.
Yes,
That's what I'm saying. Paul, you take a journey with Jens and the man that you came, whose name is Michael, the driver.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, you get everything loaded into the back of this truck. It's an assortment of strange sculptures, devices is the best way to describe them. Things that have like a mechanical operation to them that you can't decipher. Some of them look a little more recognizable as sort of chemistry items, but a lot of it just looks kind of weird. Things that spin around and fit into each other at odd angles, and perhaps some of it hasn't been fully assembled. So the operation or the purpose of it is a little bewildering to you.
Some eccentric collector.
I think you probably see this ship cargo manifest on one of them. It was actually taken by Eric before, but there'll be a very similar copy. Just edit it for you. You should be able to see in your loadout now. The journal thing.
I got it.
Yes, so this is destined for Long Island University. It's supposed to go to a Professor Tillinghast in I think it's the chemistry department. So that's where you set off to. You take the long drive up to Long Island University, which I believe is about 40 minutes outside the city or so. Well, the traffic would be a lot less back then, so it probably not be that long a drive. Just find my university note. Yes, so you drive up to university, and I imagine Jens says to you, Mr. Cummings, would you mind making the inquiry? I don't want to make a mistake, in who I'm asking for or what it is I'm trying to ask for.
Paul nods. It's fair enough, yeah. We'll try and see if this... Sorry, silly question. This looks like it's the house of this Professor Tillinghast.
This is the Long Island University campus.
Cool, right, no worries.
By the time you get there, it's not heavy rain, but it's kind of overcast and it's a drizzling rain. It is, of course, still January, so it is a cold day. You'll be able to see your breath on the air and such. But yes, you approach university and there's a handful of people walking around. Some of them are younger, obviously students. Some of them look a little older. They're probably staff. There's a groundsman working the garden as you drive up the driveway to the main building. Yes, and you just pull up outside the front, and that's when Jens, says, "Okay, Mr. Cummings, I'll come in with you, but if you want to maybe do the talking, try to find this Professor Tillinghast."
I can do my best, see what's happening.
So there is a front desk when you enter the lobby. And there's a woman who looks to be kind of mid-30s. She's got glasses and a long green cardigan on. A very neat kind of dress underneath. Dressed very conservatively. And she looks up from her notes as you approach with her glasses and uses one finger to fix her glasses at an angle. Yes, gentlemen, how can I help you today?
Hi there. My name's Paul. I've got a delivery for a Professor Tillinghast.
Oh, well, first of all, we don't really take deliveries at the front office, but Professor Tillinghast, I'm afraid he hasn't worked here for a few years now.
So I'm guessing that he probably has. No, I don't think he would have had a copy of it. We got a delivery to drop off here for I believe it's a bunch of laboratory equipment.
Oh, perhaps you should speak to the head of the department then. I think Tillinghast works in the chemistry department. She gives you directions to where you could find the office for the chemistry department, which is on the west end of the building. He says, there's a Dr. Meyer is in charge now. Perhaps he could help you out.
Dr. Meyer, no worries. Thank you very much. I'll hopefully don't need to come back and general small talk and laugh and head off in the direction she pointed.
Yeah, just go along there and you just find a man who's sort of early 50s, thick. He's got very thick hair still. It's kind of like all coiffed back to the side. He's clean shaven. And he's like thick brown cardigan. He's got an overcoat with the leather patches on the elbows, and he's had a small pipe in his mouth, which isn't lit, but he's kind of going through papers as you arrive. When he catches your attention.
Hello, Dr. Meyer, I guess?
Yes, sir. How can I help you?
Oh, wonderful. I had a delivery to give to a Professor Tillinghast, but the reception said they no longer work here and you're the head of chemistry. Got a bunch of lab equipment.
He drops the papers he was holding, stands upright, and takes the pipe out of his mouth. Tillinghast? Here? No, I'm afraid Professor Tillinghast is retired. Retired a few years ago. He no longer works here.
Well, we've got this laboratory equipment, and I believe it's a bit overdue, but it's just to, deliver it for him and take payment for it.
Oh, perhaps I could see the manifest?
Yeah, I think, I imagine that Paul would probably have that folded up and he checks it, and that's why he was getting the name and stuff, and just sort of pulls it out and offers it to him.
He takes it and gives it a look over. Oh, this isn't very informative. What exactly is it that's contained in this delivery?
Paul chuckles. Not much of a, man of science myself. I'm more of a sort of hands-on. Looks like some fancy rocks, lots of glass and metals that you put together. No idea what it's for.
He hands you back the manifest and kind of waves one hand and nods. Okay, I see. He looks at his watch. I really don't have time. But okay. Let's have a look and see what it is Tillinghast has left us.
Take him back to the truck and pop open probably one of the crates, or if it's been dismantled, whatever, and let him have a look inside.
Yeah, and he takes out a monocle and holds up to his eyes. He looks it over. Yeah, this is typical. No, we won't be taking this at all. No, I'm not interested in any of whatever this mess is. No, I'm afraid you'll have to take this to Tillinghast's residence if you want to deliver it to him. We won't be accepting this.
Oh, you need to give me the details for him then. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of boxes in your office.
Just looks at his watch again. It's like, oh, I really don't have time for this. If you speak to the woman in reception, Miss Mapling, I'm just tell her that we're not accepting the delivery and that she's to give you Tillinghast's last known residence. I'm sure that will suffice.
You know, Paul looks exasperated. It's like, all right, fine. You know, but seal up the crate and then trudge off to reception.
Paul, do you have understanding as a trade?
Let's have a look. I have charismatic, and that's the closest one, but I don't have the emphasize with others.
Have you got intuition as an interpersonal skill?
Nope.
Or streetwise, maybe?
I do have streetwise.
Okay, roll 1 dice for me. Something's a little off in his mannerisms and the way he's responding, the way he responds to the name Tillinghast. It might be an annoyance, a grievance, but there's definitely something there.
You know, some history that's a bit horrid.
Yes, and he's very dismissive, and he could not get away quick enough from whatever this is out here as he goes back into the building.
Right. Go to reception and start asking for Professor Tillinghast's last known address.
Oh, okay. A moment, please. And she goes into the back room, checks some records, and after a little while, she comes out. She gives you an address in Jersey. This wasn't his residence when he was working here, but this is our last known residence for sending his correspondence to.
You know, I guess Paul will take a copy of it, and when was this you last got this address?
She
Checking.
kind of seems hesitant to say anything. There's well, after his retirement, there were some legal papers that had to be dispatched. So that would have been late 1926. So roughly.
Hold up, legal papers. What did this guy do?
So now your charismatic can come into it.
Sort of just saying, I don't mean to give you a hassle if this guy was so much trouble.
Do you have another interpersonal skill that would apply to try to friendly
Respect,
talk it?
I guess.
Sure. Okay, roll 2 dice. Well, she says in hushed tone, I can't go into details, but it was a forced retirement. There was some issues that the university did not want made public, and he was asked to retire.
I'm guessing he didn't take too well to it, going by how things seem to be.
I can't go into specifics, but he was operating outside of the guidelines set by the university.
Oh, fun. Oh. So he's one of those eccentric types that doesn't follow the rules. Great.
She definitely has an uncomfortable look in her face at this point, as if she really doesn't like revisiting the subject. Yes, you could say that. That's probably the best way to phrase it.
Paul will nod and probably just head back to the truck, I guess. He's not really wanting to probe much further.
So Jens has been with you this time, and as you're leaving the building, he looks at you. I don't think I was quite picking up everything that was being said there. What do they mean? Forced retirement? Can they make you retire?
Yeah, it's one of the more easier ways of getting rid of someone. I think like there's like this. He got paid to leave, basically. Like, so he probably caused a lot of trouble, and it was not worth the hassle of like firing the guy. So probably, well, whatever he done, they just wanted rid of him as fast as possible. So just paid to get rid of him.
I see. He sighs deep, and he's like, okay, we'll need to pay the driver extra if we're going to drive all the way to Jersey.
I imagine it's going to be like another couple of bucks.
Yeah, he's going to want another $5 because that's a long trip.
Well, thankfully I've got that down to $10. I go.
Like, Jen puts a hand on your shoulder and rubs it. It's like, don't worry, we'll make sure you get paid first. But perhaps if this professor is not at home, perhaps we should enlist more hands so that we can offload it quicker at the scrapyard.
Well, let's just hope he's there, and let's hope he's not gone kooky.
So
He spins a finger next to his head to indicate, like, brain addled.
he nods. It's like, yes, although if he lives anywhere like this, perhaps we could be more optimistic.
Paul quietly will nod to it.
You get back in the truck, and Jens says to Michael, to go back in the city, swing by Tin City and see if they can pick up Eric, because he is supposed to be with them for this. Okay, so you guys back at the apartment. After the doctor leaves, what do you want to do? And you've fixed the shriveled thing in the sink. What do you want to do?
First thing's probably to pour myself a big, heavy glass of something stiff.
I think perhaps Eric and Gerta ought to be, making our excuses, and we ought to make our excuses and leave, and maybe give Rocky and Angela some privacy.
That's what I was thinking.
I'm just looking for a name. Yes, yeah, you two, make your excuses and leave. Rocky's just kind of like sat in the living room at the table himself with the whiskey. You guys go down the stairs, and as you're leaving, no, actually, that's not gonna be a thing.
I was going to say I'm going to Tin City anyway because I need to tell Paul about the job.
Yes. Yeah, so you're going to go with Eric to find him anyway. Yeah, so you guys will walk back to Tin City. As I said, it's just like drizzling rain. Rocky, you're left there with Angela, and you're sitting in the room while she's in the bedroom. And then she gets up and hobbles over and stands at the doorway of the bedroom looking into the living room. Rocky, what? Why are you acting so strange?
Sorry, you kind of cut out there, sorry.
So he says, Rocky, why are you acting so strange? What was all that commotion in the kitchen? What were those people doing here?
Some people are doing something really, really bad.
It's something to do with me? And you said there was something in me. What are you talking about?
he'll take a big gulp and ever since you didn't come home, I've been looking for you, trying to find where you've gone or something happened to you, and I couldn't find anything. Everyone I had spoken to said you and Nancy left, and the last time anyone had seen you was you were at a bus stop.
Just nod her head. So, right. So I'm guessing that's where the accident happened.
A few days after, I found Nancy, and I was so desperate to find you that I tried to ask her what had happened, and I kind of point to where I imagine the stain still is.
Oh yes.
Yeah, she died right there.
Oh Jesus. But how was she here if she was hit by a truck or a car? Why wasn't she in the hospital with me?
I kind of like, probably not nearly as rough as I was before, but I kind of like grab her shoulders again. And Rocky just goes, "You weren't hit by a truck."
Eyes are like wide with fear at this point and confusion. But James said there was an accident.
Cavendish. Dr. Cavendish.
Who's Cavendish?
So you really don't remember anything?
I remember talking to Nancy, and there'd been some fights broke out at the homeless shelter, and so we left a little early to get the bus home, and we were talking on our way to the bus stop, and I remember we crossed the street. I remember it was cold, and then there was a sound. It wasn't a bell. It was like, it wasn't a scream, but like a wailing. And then the next thing I know, I'm waking up in a hospital bed, and there's one of the nurses is standing there, and then James Dr. Combs comes in with some papers and tells the nurse to leave, and then he tells me that you came to visit me, but I'd missed you, and that I'm to go home now. He said that I'd been in a coma and then under sedation. I can remember there's bits and pieces between, but it's very hazy.
Angela, I visited you and you were awake and you screamed.
Okay.
Nancy had said that one of you had got on the bus, but you stopped a little early to take a smoke break, and then some men grabbed you both, but she couldn't see any of their faces, and they took you somewhere.
Without saying anything, she just like tightens her grip around your arms really tight, and her whole body starts to shake slightly. No, that doesn't make any sense.
Please, if you remember, I need to know who hurt you.
Can I have a drink? Please pour me a drink, please. I need something to steady myself. Look, I'm shaking.
Rocky like is just he kind of like reaches out for his glass, but then just sort of tightens it and just holds it, and is like kind of starts to shake himself. I'll get you some water.
Sure, whatever.
And I'll get her a glass of water and finish my glass.
You can, as you look back through, you can see her on the living room table with her, her hands out in front of her, like white knuckle gripping each other, and she's just like staring at her fingers. And then she starts to play with her hair and like tug at it. I don't know, Rourke.
Do I see like any other markings that she didn't have before, or now that I'm actually kind of like a bit closer, is there like any like marks that might not be like, maybe from injuries or something other?
Why don't you roll dice for me? She has like some small like scratches under her nose, just at her nostrils. Maybe she'd be like scratching the bottom of her nose too much, that kind of look.
Okay.
But other than that, no. I mean, she doesn't look well. When you're up close, you can see her skin's kind of dried out looking. Usually it's quite, she's very young. You'd be plump and supple looking, well moisturised, and it doesn't look like that at all. Her hair seems to be kind of dry, sort of dried out and frayed. And she looks like a little dehydrated or just exhausted. But there's no like markings. It doesn't look like anybody's bruised her anyway or cut her or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give her the water, and
She drinks it down. It's like, I really can't have something stronger. Can I have a cigarette? There must be a cigarette. She looks at you like.
Yeah, like Rocky's like tensing and like flexing his fingers and tensing his fists, and
she's like, there's something else, isn't there? Something you're not telling me.
I gave Nancy a drink when I brought her here, and she choked to death.
On a drink?
And I'll kneel down in front of her and just again put my hands on her shoulders, and it's just like something was inside Nancy.
Something like what?
I don't know, but it almost stopped her from breathing, and she died right there in my arms.
Are you saying that's what's happening to me?
I don't know what's happening. Cavendish knows.
Who?
And he told me that if I took you home, you would die without his help.
Who's Cavendish?
James's boss. He runs the hospital.
Well, what? Why did James bring me home? If I'm supposed to stay in the hospital, why did he lie to me?
To keep you safe, but I don't know if you're...
How does it keep me safe if I'm dying?
I don't know. But you're not safe here, you're not safe there.
turns around
I
and
need to know.
she turns around and looks at the patch of dried blood in the corner, or off to the side. And then she like holds her stomach, and then she looks at you. It's as if like, is this where it would be? So what's going to happen to me?
I really don't know, dear. I just...
What do you mean you don't know?
Angela, I am not a doctor. I have no idea what the fuck is going on.
Okay, well, why am I home then? Why am I not in the hospital with the doctors who do know?
Because the doctors that do know are also bad. And they were trying... They scheduled a psychologist who was going to cut you up.
But if it's in... Well, maybe if it's inside me, it needs to be removed. No, I don't like this at all. No, take me back to the hospital. I want to speak to this Cavendish. I need to know what's going on.
Okay, yeah, yeah, we'll go see Cavendish.
I'm just waiting for Laura to get back so I can do them.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
Actually, I'm gonna go pee as well. Back in that.
Yeah. Holy shit.
That was intense.
Yeah. It's just getting worse.
Yeah, it feels like we're really heading towards the end game now.
Like at this stage, if I don't shoot somebody...
Yeah, I guess Rocky would have a gun. I never really stopped to think about that.
Oh, actually, I definitely do have a shotgun. I have a shotgun, a knife, and some knuckle dusters, so I could fuck somebody up. But yeah, as a matter of fact, whenever Rocky first spoke to Cavendish, I threatened him with a knife. But
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
yeah. But now I'm thinking I might bring a little something extra to Cavendish, because I really have no idea what to do. Well, I mean, I kind of know what needs to happen, but Rocky is also not equipped for this sort of shit.
I guess maybe telling us might give us some answers, but depends how long it takes to get for Paul's group to work that one out, maybe.
Yeah. Because it's one of those things, like, I don't know if you know, the alcohol is really what killed Nancy, or because it hurt the parasite and it, you know, killed her or whatever, or
Yeah.
there's just a lot of I don't knows.
Or you might have been hypnotized to kill her, and you don't know.
Dude, for sure. I thought, like, whenever he was saying, like, you know, oh yeah, no, you signed the documents, I was like, no, I didn't.
Yeah,
So I really thought that was like all part of Rocky's like mental break, and I was like, oh my god, like, because I mean, how amazing would that be too? Because like to tell the player like, oh yeah, no, you did something, but you just, you know, you actually didn't.
Yeah, I thought like at that moment, because I was like, look at the blood and the crowd was like, were you hypnotized?
Oh yeah, like yeah, this is fantastic. A terrible mess.
God, that would be a next level thing. Like when suddenly you find out you're the unreliable narrator and you didn't even know it.
Oh, for sure. Like whenever we first saw the blood stain on the floor, like, oh, that definitely was not there. That shouldn't be there. I legitimately thought, Oh man, this is like if it's either I'm the unreliable narrator or this is like a brilliant way to frame it, like I'm the unreliable narrator.
Okay, we all here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so Eric and Greta, Greta? I can't remember. Gerta.
Gerta.
Yeah, sorry. You two go back to Tin City. And you start looking for Paul. You speak to his wife. She's going to tell you that he's out looking for work. So you're just going to go around the spots trying to find him. Rocky, you and Angela get some clothes on and prepare to go to the hospital. You just go down the stairs of the apartment block, and as you get to the front entrance, Angela falls to her knees, clutching her stomach, and groans with pain.
I will say, like, as part of the preparation to leave the house, I will, like, even trying to hide it from Angela, try to bring my shotgun and hide it in my trench coat.
Okay, so maybe you're like, because you got your car, so maybe you're like, right, I'm going to take some things out to the car while she's getting ready, because she's got the makeup and stuff to make herself look more presentable, and then you take the shotgun out to the car, because I think that's probably the only way she wouldn't notice.
Yeah, probably.
Sure, and then when she's going downstairs, she drops to her knees, clutching her belly, retching with pain. At that moment, Paul, you're coming down the street in the truck with Michael and Jens. You probably recognise Rocky.
I'll actually try to like press my hand against her belly to see if I feel something.
Okay, roll a dark dice for me.
Oh shit.
Okay, so you got one stress. You would have one stress anyway.
Yeah. Well, wait, so like just to make sure, whenever I struck it out, I clear it all, right?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, back to one.
You're back at one. Yeah, you're... Even if you don't feel something, I imagine just like you're so uptight about it that, you know, you could imagine you can feel something, but it might just be like normal movements beneath her skin, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like gurgling of her belly, she hasn't eaten or something like that, do you know what I mean? But you're just, every little sensation you're interpreting is something more sinister.
God, yeah, that totally makes sense, because I'm not a doctor, I have no idea what I'm doing.
And just...
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and just coincidentally, as you're doing that, they're coming down the street in the truck. So, I mean, I don't know, Paul, if you'd even bother stopping or if you just drive by, but you do clock them on the street as you drive by.
I mean, how fast is the truck going? Is it just like a slow, like 5 miles per hour, like a really slow trudge?
Yeah, it would not be going fast because there would be lots of people coming and going on the street in traffic at this time of day in this part of town. Because we're still talking like before lunchtime.
I think Paul's knee-jerk reaction would be to jump off the truck and see if he can help. Because he can just see like there's a woman lying down and Rocky trying to do something.
Yeah, and as far as you know, Rocky may have killed someone already.
yeah, there's an element of like, shit, what's he done again?
Yeah,
So,
I
think Paul would jump off and rush over.
Which I imagine is surprising for Rocky.
Oh yeah, for sure. He just comes out of nowhere.
So Angela gets a hand on you, one hand on her belly, and she just looks up at you. It's like fear in her face. She's like, I feel sick. Is it happening? Is this... She kind of retches in the spits.
Is there anything like unusual in the spittle or?
No, it's just spittle.
I mean, yeah, I'm not a doctor. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. This is gonna be nothing. I know it. Anyways, yeah. So Rocky's, yeah. He's not really for sure what to say in this moment. He's just gonna try to like get her up, and if he needs to, he'll try to carry her. But yeah, he's like, we need to get you to a doctor now.
She's like clutching at your jacket, you know, squeezing your hand. She's like, I'm scared, Rourke.
No, it's gonna be fine. I'm gonna fix everything.
Big, large Paul looming over the two of you.
Yeah, I just like after I get over the initial shock, like where the fuck did you even come from? I'll be like, I don't know what's going on. I need to get her back to the hospital now.
Imagine sort of like look her over, look slightly. I think genuinely Paul would probably look very. What's the look where you don't fully trust someone? You know, like that expression. You know, we'll look at Rocky like, I doubt you now. I don't know the word.
Apprehensive.
That sounds about right. But pick up the woman and try and help get her to the medical area.
Sure, you start picking up the woman, and she doesn't know you. She takes fright, and she looks, Rocky, what? She starts hitting you, like just slapping at you. Let go of me.
No, he's a friend.
But he was waiting for us outside.
I just got here.
Rocky, what is this? What's happening?
It doesn't matter. He's helping to take you to the hospital.
Something. She looks as if something just sort of like clicked in her brain. And it's, Rocky, no, I just had an accident. I'm not sick. I'm not mad.
Yeah, no, like Rocky just shakes his head. It's like I don't think you're crazy. It's nothing like that.
Please, she grabs you like by the collar. She said, please, Rocky, please don't let them take me away.
I'm not letting them take you away. I'm not even leaving you.
And she starts just like crying and pleading at the same time. It's like, please don't do this.
Yeah, I'll just like hold her hand and try my best to calm her down.
You didn't have reassurance or understanding, did you?
No, I do not.
Roll 2 dice. Usually lowest result. Okay, maybe not. She calms down somewhat, but she doesn't like Paul holding her, obviously, and she tries to just like wrap her arms around you, Rocky. I'm just scared. I don't know what's happening.
Paul's a friend of mine. He was helping me find you, and yeah, he's going to keep you safe. Let's just get you into the car. Let's get you to the doctors.
The driver of the truck is like yelling out the window to Paul. It's like, hey, Paul, honking the horn. What are we doing here?
Ah, fuck, right. Alright. This woman, she needs to get taken to the hospital.
Well, tell her to call an ambulance.
Sort of, look over at Rocky.
I just shake my head.
No, apparently that's not possible. We need to take her.
We need to take her?
Trying to think. So, obviously, for me in the truck, we were going to the professor.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I needed to answer a call, but I'm guessing we popped by Tin City because we were on.
Not yet. You're on your way
early.
to Tin City to try and pick up Eric.
Ah, so quite literally, just we were driving by and we
Yes.
spotted them. We'll just take a detour past the hospital. We'll drop them off on our way. Give me an extra couple bucks.
Other people are like honking and traffic behind them this time. You know, they don't have time to like turn you down. It's like, right, whatever. Tell them to get in the back. Make it quick.
Sort of help hump everyone in.
Yeah.
So, Rocky, you're leaving your car with the shotgun in it.
Yeah, unfortunately, my plan kind of shifted.
Okay,
The resources are depleted.
you and Angela get in the back of the truck, and it's full of all this metal and wiring and contraptions, all these brass things riveted together, and it's very uncomfortable trying to like squeeze yourselves in there. And, Angela is very confused and upset. It's like, why are we getting this truck, Rocky?
We're closer to the truck than the fucking car. Let's just don't worry about that. Doesn't matter how we're getting you to the hospital. We're getting you to the fucking hospital.
She winces again, bending over the pain, and then just gets in without any resistance. You guys pile in the truck and you go around the corner. You take a few more turns up a couple more streets, and you're at the main street alongside where Tin City is. You can see the crowd of people standing there, lined up, waiting for people to stop by for work, and their eyes light up as you approach, as they're obviously hopeful that you are a team coming to take on workers to some job or other. You can spot Eric and Gerta in amongst the crowd because they are there looking for Paul at this point. So Gerta and Eric, you see the truck pull up, and Eric, you probably recognise Paul and Jens sitting in the front of as passengers of the truck.
I think I'd probably just try and shout up to ask what's happening. Is everything okay?
Jens will shout back, I don't know why, but we've got a pregnant woman in the back, so get in.
Guess I just jump in that case.
Fantastic.
You also got to, yes.
Yes.
Hey, and the team's together, how about that? Michael, like, curses under his breath as he, like, bats away people who are begging to be taken on for the job. And you all drive off around the corner towards the hospital. One of Gerta or Eric can be in the front, squeezed in with the other guys.
Yeah, I'll be in the front.
Okay, so Eric, you're in the back with Rocky and, surprisingly, Angela.
I'm quite shocked by this, but equally I kind of understand the gravity of the situation when I see the state that Angela's in.
Angela's getting more animated. You know, she almost looks like, you almost like for a moment believe that she's going to give birth the way she's like, you know, humping and breathing. She's like laid back, her legs are like stretched out in front of her, although not like split apart. And in her anguish, she kind of reach out and grabs hold of one of the large pieces of brass metal. She's kind of like twisting and retching. Michael yells back through the back of the van. He's like, what the hell is going on back there? Is she giving birth?
She's in pain, just please be quick as you can.
Yeah, Rocky just no clue what to do, is just holding her hand and is trying to reassure her.
The area of the brass that she's grasping starts to glow a soft amber.
Oh, fun.
Not quite sure how to react to that other than to just stare at it.
Bells that are part of the apparatus start to jingle. Not jingling with the motion of the truck, but start to jingle in rhythm.
By any chance, do some of those things have like the brass embossing on the crates?
Oh
around
yes,
them?
the embossing is like all over this stuff. There's sigils and signs and scripture all over the thing.
By any chance, is there any of that glowing? Or is it just sort of feeling coincidentally this rhythm?
Just coincidentally.
Paul doubts that somewhat.
You want to roll a dice for Paul?
Yes. He doesn't have any Eldritch thing, but so I guess like just one dice.
Yeah, we're just going dark dice. This is just like your innate understanding of the spooky.
Oh,
Okay, so you
That's
definitely
not
gain a
good.
stress.
Fuck.
Paul turns around and Paul is seeing not just the bells ring, but all the little orbs are like spinning around on their own in the same direction at the same speed. Some of the writing is starting to also have a soft amber glow to it. And not only that, Angela herself, around her belly and torso, is starting to glow a slight luminous blue. It's just, the only reason you can even see it is because she's in the dark of the back of the van.
So 4 stress is I'm teetering on hysteria and act out. So I'm going to assume that he is kind of paralyzed by what's going on. He doesn't know if this stuff is helping or is it making it worse. He doesn't know.
Is Paul driving at this point?
No,
No, he's in the
Michael is
back.
trying. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good thing.
Like the only thing that I would say is like, I obviously have no idea what the fuck is going on, but is it seeming to lessen Angela's pain or worsen it?
By her reactions, it doesn't seem to be lessening it.
Michael, drive a wee bit faster here. Come on.
Do you want me to run into someone? It's like lunchtime
Well-
traffic.
Just start shouting that someone's pregnant and then you need to give you right of way.
Goddamn fucking women. He's like banging his horn. He's trying to shout at people and waving them out the window to get out of the way. Angela screams and starts just like, she lets go of the brass she was holding, but the glowing remains. And she starts just like banging the wall of the truck. It's like, Rocky, what's happening? It's so painful.
And there's nothing I can really see other than like the glow. Like there's no like movement under the skin.
She's got a dress on and a jacket on. It's not like she's like bare bodied.
Right, yeah.
I think if Rocky's got hold of like one of Angela's hands, I'll like maybe grab her other hand and try to help, like help Rocky keep her calm if I possibly. Well, like try and reassure her a little bit if I can. If I've got the reassurance skill, it might be a little bit of comfort to her.
Sure, why don't you roll your reassurance? Yes, perhaps the extra hand, and she's got a really strong vice-like grip on yours at this point. And she looks up at you, and maybe she feels a little more comforted by that and your soothed words. And she stops yelling and screaming as much. Maybe the pain starts to subside a little. And she's just like breathing now, just like. And it very much does feel like a childbirth. But that can't be possible, right?
Yeah. Like even in this like really weird state, like this situation, Rocky's probably got like one hand is trying to, reassure Angela. The other hand is probably at the very least going for where his knife is. He is just on guard and is not sure what's gonna happen or how to react.
The jingling of the bells and the things turns into like a constant kind of sound for everyone. It gets louder to the extent that it's difficult to hear anything else. The sound of the traffic and the people outside is drowned out by this ringing in your ears. And the whole truck feels as if it's like moving. Not jiggling, but almost like it's sliding left to right very slowly. Although your vision doesn't seem to indicate that you're moving at all.
How difficult would it be to try and push the equipment out of the truck? I mean, is it
It would be quite difficult, especially with you guys at the back, because I mean you'd be back between the door and the equipment yourselves.
Right, okay.
as you start to get closer to the hospital, the glowing is like getting brighter, the sound is getting louder. The street outside for you guys that are sitting up front is becoming wavy, that kind of distortion you get when there's like heat over a surface, or maybe in the desert or something. It's all kind of wavy and warped and kind of cloudy around the edges of your vision.
Oh no, we're going into the
Let's get her-
Underdark.
Let's get her out of here.
Yeah, I'll try to get her up in my arms and try to carry her, and I'll just shout Cavendish's name over and over again.
She grabs you by the ears, the hair outside your head, and looks you dead in the eyes and says, "I can't go back there."
Back where?
"And you can't take me back to him. I won't go back." And her voice changes completely. It's not the soft female voice that she had. It's a very deep, growly, masculine kind of voice. It's like, "I won't go back."
Why don't me and Eric, we'll run in and get the James guy, the James doctor?
No, it has to be Cavendish. He knows what's really going on.
Do you want me to get, can me and Eric and Paul get Cavendish? We'll just run in and get him if she doesn't want to go in the hospital.
If you can, there's don't take no for an answer. He needs to be out here right now.
Okay, right, come on, Paul, Eric, come on, let's go.
Okay, we'll follow you.
Just pull up outside the hospital, and the three of you jump out.
All three of us jump out. Paul, Eric, and myself.
All right, you just jump out. You run into the front of the hospital, and what? I mean, there's nurses and patients going to and fro.
We ask for if we can speak to Dr. Cavendish.
Okay. Do you have an appointment?
It's emergency. It's one of his patients, Angela.
Dr. Cavendish doesn't have any patients. He's a director here at the hospital.
If you tell him it's Angela Rickaby, he's absolutely going to want to know this.
Okay. Hang on a moment. And she picks up the telephone and says to the operator, "Put me through to Dr. Cavendish's office, please." She waits a few moments. He's not in his office just now. Can I take a message? Is there another doctor I could direct you to?
Where is he?
He's away on business.
We're on business. Where is he?
I can't give out that information. If you have an emergency, we have an emergency room.
Can I use negotiation and to get her to tell me where he is?
Sure. Dice for that, and dice for you have charismatic, right?
I have charismatic, understanding, and negotiation.
So roll 2 dice, yeah. And this is to know where he is, yeah?
Yes, we're
well,
finding.
He was working late last night, and he was attending a business seminar today at the Brooklyn Ethical Centre. You might be able to find him there, but if it's a medical emergency, you shouldn't be leaving the hospital. Where's the patient? What exactly is the nature of the emergency?
Can you phone Brooklyn to see if he's there? I'm being charismatic.
Sure. I could patch you through. Sure. But what does if this is emergency? Don't you want a doctor to see the patient right now?
I'd like to see him.
She looks up at you, Eric.
I'll try and reassure her that this is the best course of action in the circumstances.
She seems confused, but she'll So she makes the phone call and patch through to the Brooklyn Medical Center, Ethical Center. She's like, "Hi, I'm trying to reach Dr. Cavendish. There's an emergency with one of his patients." And eventually, she gets him on the phone. Says, "Dr. Cavendish, I have someone here to speak to you about one of your patients. What's your name, miss?"
Eric, do you want to speak on my behalf?
Okay, if you let me speak to him a moment, if you tell him it's in connection with Angela Rickaby, he'll know.
It's to do with an Angela Rickaby. And she passes the phone over to you. And
Doctor, if you know what this is about, then please can you tell us where we can reach you? It's Miss Rickaby. She's having a violent episode. Something's happening to her.
happening to her? In what way?
Something like childbirth, but she is not pregnant.
I see. Do you know where the building is for the Brooklyn Ethical Society?
Can you give me the address? I don't know it offhand.
Of course. He gives you address. Bring her to me immediately.
Okay, we will.
It's maybe
Right.
a quarter of a mile away. It's not far.
Right, we need to run because if she's still at that stage, so. Mike, what's called the Brooklyn Center. You've got the address, don't you, Eric?
So Mike's like,
Yes,
"Hi,
give him the
right,
address.
wait. She's pregnant. We're at the hospital. Why are we going somewhere else?"
There's more to it than that. I'm afraid we need this man Cavendish to look at her. He's the only one that can help her.
Mike looks at Jens, and Jens looks at you, Eric. Kind of like, no, but really, why are we going somewhere else with this woman?
This is her doctor, and he's the one that has been dealing with her. And it's a extraordinary case. So, can you just shut up and just take us there?
Angela, by this point, has seemed to calm down a little. Her voice has returned rocky, but she's like whispering to you insistently. She's like, Rocky, no, this isn't right. This isn't right. I can't go back there." There's a building, there's a room, there's 3 men on a table and Nancy. I can't go back there.
Oh my gosh. Oh, my head.
I go to speak to Angela. I'm trying to be like charismatic, even though I haven't been, but I'll just say something reassuring to her.
Gertrude, you have to tell them you knew Nancy. I remember now. I remember what they did to
Yeah.
her.
I need you to tell me everything, Angela. Every detail.
They took her, both of us, and they brought us into the room, and there was a table, and there was a woman on the table, and they had her cut open. And then when they took her away and they put Nancy on the table and they pulled a thing out of a box and it crawled inside her. And she was screaming and bleeding and I couldn't do anything. I was tied up in the side.
Did they do the same thing to you, Angela?
Like bites her lower lip and nods yes.
Okay, then
Tears in her eyes.
we have to get it out some way.
She like clutches you and she's like,
I'm not gonna let him do anything to hurt you. But if we don't get it out of you, it's gonna hurt you.
Clutches you tightly and she's like, you can't let them take it out of me. Not like that. No.
Can we not go to like the university and see if they've got we can speak to someone there, if, on sort of, weird diseases and stuff like that.
That's gonna take time. We don't have that.
What about Tillinghast? This is his equipment. It seemed to react to Angela. Would he have any idea about what we could do?
Does anyone know where to find this Tillinghast?
We have an address for him, but it's in Jersey.
Is that's far from where we are, or?
For New York, Brooklyn, through Manhattan, across the bridge into Jersey.
I don't think that's so far.
It's not that
why
far.
don't we
You're,
go there?
and if you're going up the coast,
it's really not.
a couple hours at most. One.
Why don't we go there then? If she's not feeling to go to the Cavendish guy, maybe we should do that.
I think it's either Tillinghast, Cavendish, or we could try and talk to the Dr. Coombs again, but I don't think he would have any great insight. He seems trustworthy, but he's just an ordinary doctor. I don't think he knows these kind of things.
He has no idea.
I don't think he has any idea, and also I think he's been infected.
So is it one of those things where it's like Cavendish is in one direction, Tillinghast is in the other, or the address?
Cavendish is about a quarter mile away. It's still in Brooklyn. It's not that far away at all. If you're going to go to Tillinghast, you're going across the river into Jersey.
Right, I have a plan. Okay, he's in Brooklyn, yeah? He must have an office in the hospital, yeah?
Yep.
He must have files or something on this.
Oh shit, you're right.
Why don't we go into the hospital and get those files? Look through his office. He's out of the office. He's expecting us. So this is the good time as any to just raid his office. Who's up for doing that?
Well, yeah, it's again still trying to figure out.
There could be a vial that could save her in his office. So let's try and find the vial.
What do we know about Tillinghast other than this equipment here was glowing because of her?
Other than the equipment, really nothing at all.
So we don't know if he's on the same side as Cavendish or somehow is on our side.
I was going to say, I think we're here. We're in the hospital. I think we're here. We may as well it's only going to take us 20, 30 minutes to look for this. I think we're best going, to his office and, raiding it.
Oh, I mean, raiding an office shouldn't take you 30 minutes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It'll take us 10 minutes. May as well, kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah, fuck it. I'm going to go to the guys that are driving, or were kind of driving the truck, that were kind of hijacking.
Yep, Mike and Jens, yeah.
Yeah, I'll pull out $10, slap it on there, and keep the engine running. Go where we tell you to. Don't ask questions.
Mike is making a killing today, so he's okay.
Okay. So I'll reluctantly leave Angela, but I'll because I know where Cavendish's office is, and I remember where he pulled that box from.
Paul, are you?
I'm gonna go.
Yeah, Garcia, you're going. Paul, are you going in with them, or are you going to stay here with Angela? Also, how are you for tiredness?
I am getting a bit dopey brained. I think he'd probably want to stay with Angela.
Eric, are you going in with them?
My only concern is that I spoke to the clerk at the desk, so I don't know if, you know...
Change your
Oh yeah,
hat,
no. What,
your jacket. Swap with Paul with your jacket.
it's not gonna matter if we're really quick. I can take us directly to the office. I'll probably bust down the door and we can grab some shit and get out.
Okay, sure. In that case, I'll come with you. I mean, I guess I would either have had my hat on or off, so I could either put my hat on or take my hat off.
Do the
depending.
reverse, yeah.
Yeah.
You could also just like tilt your hat down so you can't quite see your face and stuff.
Yes.
Okay, I don't think sneaking into the hospital is too bad. They're not looking out for people coming back in for any reason. You know where his office is, so you're able to navigate the elevators and the stairs, no problem. It's lunchtime, this kind of visiting hours. There's lots of people coming and going anyway, so I don't think that's going to arouse any kind of suspicion. Paul, you're left down there. Are you going to go in the back so somebody's sitting in the back with Angela?
Yeah, Paul will be keeping an eye on her and the tools that are kind of suspicious.
Yeah, so I mean, everything is still kind of glowing and moving. And while you're in the truck with her, and you know, the closer you're to the equipment and her, everything is very wavy and sort of nauseous. Nauseating. And when you're like sitting there beside her, she like reaches over and like holds your hand for a second to get your attention.
Sort of snap his eyes away from the. I think he'd probably try to pull his hand unless it was like, you know, gripped by both of them. You know, just more from the startle of, you know, being touched while he was staring at the glowing things, and then turn and look at her and try to be calm, but it's obviously he's very strained and nervous about what's going on.
She turns to you and says, "Your name is Paul."
Aye, that's what Rocky said. You know, as he pauses for a moment, like, how does he know my name? Wait, Rocky was saying it quite a few times. It's like, aye.
There was a man with you in the dark. A man who was killed.
In the dark.
Underground. Somewhere
And of course,
like a cave.
you know, flashbacks to Edinburgh, the goat screaming. He's struggling with words, like he's not sure how to approach this.
But you saved the girl.
Memories of the panicking naked woman that was scratching him up. How do you know of that?
I can see her sometimes when I'm dreaming. And she is dreaming with me.
Who are you?
She blinks a couple of times. I'm Angela. Rickaby. I'm Rocky's wife. I've seen her, Paul.
How? Have you ever left America?
Shakes her head, saying no.
Then how the hell do you know this?
She kind of winces a little bit. I don't know. I just thought you should know.
Paul is decidedly spooked. He's very spooked.
Okay, roll a dice for me.
Yeah.
What's your stress at?
4.
What have I written? I've written higher, but I don't know.
Yeah, equal to or exceeds your stress, increase your stress by 1. So
Okay.
I will put 5.
Okay, so you hit temporary insanity. You can pick one or you can roll for one.
Let's see. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 7. Let's roll a d7. I have become unstable, reckless, hysterical, and a liability. I think Paul probably something snaps in his head and he just starts laughing.
Jens and Mike turn around to the back of the van. Like, hey, buddy, are you okay back there? What's so funny?
It's very clear this is not a fun laugh. This is manic laughter.
Hey, and Jens is like snapping his fingers. He's like, hey, Paul. Paul, are you okay?
I very much doubt he's responsive.
Angela starts to like laugh with you, although she's kind of like half crying, half laughing as she does so. And the two of you doing that together is extremely unnerving for the guys in the front. Okay, so you guys in the hospital, you make your way up to Cavendish's office. And the office there, I think I described it, has that kind of, typical glass door, half glass door office where you can't quite see through the glass because it's all that wavy style. And it says Dr. J. Cavendish on the front of it. The door is locked, obviously. There are other offices there, and there's a couple of people sitting in them. But this office very much is at the end of the corridor and sits apart from those.
So I don't have a key or a locksmith, lockpick, but it really can't be that hard of a door to bypass.
No, I mean, it's just an office door. It's quite, I wouldn't say it's flimsy, but you could smash the glass, you could kick it in. It's going to make noise, and the people in the offices are going to hear it.
Rocky, being of the criminal persuasion, would he have any experience of opening like basic locks, just through his line of work?
I mean, I probably would have, but like, we were more smash and grabby, and also I don't have lockpicks with me, so.
Were you trying to say something, Laura? I can hear you talking, but you're not pressing the button. Still.
Oh, can you still hear me?
Yeah.
No? Can you hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So Eric, I shuffled to say to you to not cause a scene, but kind of like go over somewhere to drop something when he smashes.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing actually. Yeah, sure. I'll look around for something like at the opposite end of the corridor, like a plant in a china vase or something that would make a similar kind of noise.
Definitely potted plants, yeah.
Sure, I'll go up as far as I can that it would still make enough noise to be like a kind of equal equivalent to the noise that Rocky's going to make, but where it's enough away to kind of give them a bit of breathing space, and then I'll kind of look to Rocky to get ready to do it at the same time that I'm going to smash the vase.
Okay, I'm going to do you and Rocky both roll a d6, and the closer your numbers are together, the better you've timed it.
Oh, fuck.
Oh boy.
Jeez, that's well going to be like 6 and 1.
Oh no, don't say that!
But I'm like in the
There's
middle.
one.
I'm the middle person. Am I not the middle person that I can kind of go, he's saying to me, and then I'm kind of like saying to him?
Yeah, but I mean, that makes it even worse if you're trying to do it between them.
Okay.
I mean, it was almost a 6 and a 1. Yeah, so there is a... Rocky goes too early, kicks the door in, bang,
Oops.
smack, and then just like, a fraction of a second after that, you hear the smashing of the potted plant.
It did one of those things where like bounced before it bounced off the tiles and then it shattered.
Yeah.
I'll exclaim very loudly, "Oh, terribly sorry."
A man who's obviously a doctor, who's got a stethoscope around his collar, and he's got the jacket and everything, thick black glasses, pokes his head out of his office, just like, What the hell is going on out here?
Sorry, I bumped into the plant on my way past. Sorry, terribly sorry.
What was that banging sound?
Oh, that was me. That was me. I fainted. I'm feeling okay now though, but I just need a wee bit of breathing. So
I'm sorry, I
walked
don't think
home.
you're allowed up here. Are you here to visit someone?
Oh, I was just what's called I'm in the nursing guild. I'm just waiting. I'm a student. I'm just waiting
The
on
nursing
a
guild?
female nurse. A doctor's like training me. So
Do you have deception as a skill, Gerta?
I have
You do not.
charisma.
You have 1 dice for charisma, you can roll that.
Can I do understanding?
No. You're lying. You're trying to be deception. So it's 1 dice for the charisma.
Charisma and negotiation.
No, just 1 dice. You're not
Okay.
negotiating, you're lying to him. Okay,
Can I use 2 of my luck?
You could use 1 luck to change it to a 4 or 2 to change it to a 6.
2 to change it to a 6.
Sorry, 3 to change it to a 6. I can't count.
What do you guys think? 2 or 3?
Well, I guess.
Let's get the best situation. I'll use the 3 because let's
Sure.
let's get the.
Oh, all right. Well, just tell your friend here to be more careful and find a porter to clean that up.
Yes, ma'am.
Gives you a sort
Yes,
of,
sir.
and he goes back in, starts getting back on the telephone to his conversation. Rocky, meanwhile, has already kind of slipped into the office of Cavendish, and it looks much like it did the other night when you were here. Everything's, neatly put together, laid out. There's not a lot in the way of paperwork.
And the paperwork that's there, I've got document analysis and textual analysis. Is there any paperwork that I can look at that,
You're also clever, aren't you?
I'm learned.
Okay, so you can roll 2 dice. So the papers that are left out on his desk is just a couple of files on patients. They seem to be neurological case studies. You can tell 100% that these are genuine documents that have not been tampered with in any way, and there doesn't seem to be anything unusual about them. They're covering illnesses that you've heard about or read about somewhere. So this is not like an unknown factor. So the things that have been left out on the desk as such are perfectly legitimate, pieces of documentation.
Does he have a filing cabinet?
Of course he does.
Get into that.
Again, browsing through this just seems to be like patient documents, financial records for the hospital. There you go, Rocky.
I'm gonna go to where I know he pulled out that 1 box.
Yeah, the false panel at the side of the drinks cabinet.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah,
try to find any papers in there. I'm gonna try to avoid the box because I know what happened when he opened it. But
You pop it open, but there's nothing in the cavity. You stretch your arm in and feel around the back of it. And it's quite a small space, but there doesn't seem to be anything else there.
No.
What were you saying, Gerta?
Is there anything like in his drinks cabinet? Is there anything that's like a wee bottle or anything like that that's like sticking out, or like something that doesn't, there's drinks, but there's like some sort of vial or something? There's like any of that sort of stuff?
Do you have a scene analysis? You don't, do you?
I do.
No.
Okay, Rocky, you give me 1 dice for scene analysis. Gerta, you give me 1 dice for occult and 1 dice for clever. Oh no, wait, not clever.
Oh shit.
Yeah, learned.
Learned,
isn't
yeah,
it?
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rocky's looking around and he can't see it. Shit.
I got 6.
You look around and you don't see any vials or anything like that, but there is one of the picture frames that are up. It's not a painting. It's what do they call it? Like cross stitching that someone's done. And it says underneath it's by like a Mrs. Cavendish, and you know the date that's given on it, as well as the pattern of the different symbols that have been stitched into it are related to the occult.
You're never going to believe this, Rigby. This is related to the occult, this painting, this crochet.
One of them is like, the serpent from the Garden of Eden. One of them is like a pentagram. They're quite obvious satanic symbols.
Do I notice this on any of like the books that he has on his, in the office?
I'm going to say one of the books on the bookshelf. I mean, a lot of them are just like big, thick medical tomes and such. But one of them has a serial number on it. Like you have a catalogue number, like in a library, and it matches the date on the stitching.
Maybe there's a book. This could be something that, it could be a spell or something that's, that could save Angela. Let's take the book.
Yeah, go ahead, grab the book, and I'll actually, just because I'm like that, I'm gonna actually like check the crochet thing and see if there's anything behind it hidden.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah, so you grab the book and you pull out the thing. There's nothing like immediately in the back of it because it's sealed in the frame, obviously.
I think you take the painting with you. Like,
Yeah, no,
take it
I've got
in
a
the
knife.
van.
I'm gonna cut it and see again. I'm making sure there's nothing hidden in here.
Yeah, you start cutting open and then you realise this is actually quite new, the thing on the back. Like, this has already been done. Someone's already replaced the back here before. It's not the same texture or colour as the surrounding framework. And there is a piece of paper folded up inside.
I'll take it and unfold it.
Do you want to show it to Gerta as you do it as well?
Yeah.
Let's see what it says first.
Okay, so I'm going to show you it first. It'll show up in your journal here.
Oh.
It's a number of sketches, hand-drawn sketches.
Yeah, I'll show it to her.
Can I read it because of like the document analysis section?
Yeah, I'm giving you it. It's in your journal now. It says sketches.
Yeah, it's not words.
Can I decipher it?
I mean, is it not obvious what it looks like?
Oh yeah. Oh goodness. Yeah. Oh.
And in the corner it says species 16.
Okay, we know that it's a species. Is there any books that have the 16 mark? That's the same, was it, the book that I have?
The catalogue on number on that medical journal is the same as the date on the stitching.
Okay, this is the book, Rickaby. I think we've got what we need, and I don't think there's anything else in here.
Yeah, no, let's get out of here.
Let's go.
Yeah, and then if we could like see what's inside the book once we get out to the truck, that'd be great. Because who knows what kind of information it's got right now.
Okay, so you just get back down to the truck. Do you want to show the other guys what you found? When you get there, Paul is like fucking laughing hysterically, and Angela's kind of like, laughing in a sort of weird, half-crying kind of way. Although she seems to be like gasping for breath, like she's exhausted by this point because they've been laughing for a while now.
Yeah, I'll kind of try to like. I'll try to stop Angela first, but like, and then I'll probably try to stop Paul, like calm him down.
Good luck.
Yeah, this is a bit of a shenanigan, clusterfuck, if you will.
I'm just going to put sketches in everybody's journal so you guys can see it as well.
I don't think, like, tonight, I think we should all just stick together.
Nah, I'm definitely sleeping in my own room.
Oh, sweet. Species 16.
Imply that there are at least 15 more.
Or maybe this is just called Species 16. When we look in the book,
Yeah, so I just want to ask her, he's driving off to Jersey when she's back to the truck
yes,
with her crazy people in the back.
Yeah, I'll say like, yeah, Jersey.
Mike's going to be like, are you sure you want to take the crazies with us? I mean...
no, we all come as a package.
Alright, it's your dollar. You pack into the truck and drive off. As you're looking through the journal on the way there, it's a journal that talks about biology in general. It has all different animal species, insect species. It covers a vast array of kind of biological topics and evolution. And the part that's kind of like highlighted, circled, talks about species that use other species as hosts. The type of wasps that lay their eggs inside a spider and things like that hatch out of them.
Do we know if there's any sort of cure in the book?
No, it doesn't list a cure or anything like that. It's obviously a research journal and somebody has been researching these topics. And all those kind of sections are highlighted. But as you're journeying up to Jersey, we'll cover what happens from there next time.
Yeah. Just out of clarification, like, does the sketch match at all the weird wiggly thing
No.
in the?
No, it's different.
That's really disconcerting. That was literally the worst thing you could have said.
No, I mean, the only similarity is that one is showing something like coming out of someone's mouth. But it's a
For sure.
completely different shape and size to what you've seen.
Fantastic.
But yeah, we'll stop there because Callum's going to fall asleep.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh
That was
boy.
like that was a lot.
Yeah, that went some places.
Yeah. Two of us had a fucking mental break.
Oh, and Paul, if you want to choose something to score out, if you want to reset your stress.
Score out.
Yeah, on your sheet down at the bit that says your story, you have who are you, who do you care about, where do you find peace, and what gives you comfort. You're going to mark one of those off.
Ah, right, okay.
And that'll take you back to 0 stress.
The small coal craft that I've got, the little bird, it no longer gives comfort.
Reality is set in.
You get a scene thing for when you're in a truck.
Oh, so we know that Angela still has this insider, which is
Oh,
unnerving.
I mean, to be fair, we definitely knew that.
Yeah, but still at the same time, it was like the validation of it.
Well, there was debate whether she was actually Angela or not.
Yeah, no, that part was. Yeah, I don't know.
Super sketchy when she was talking to Paul. It was like, did he take that with him? Did he take a piece of the Edinburgh with him when he went to America? Did he bring it here?
Either that or yeah, she's definitely got some fucking perception. Yeah, she started describing about shit that happened in Edinburgh, and I was like, no. No, you don't know that. How the fuck would you know that?
Which is why Paul was basically just, sent him off the deep edge. It's like, how do you know this? Who are you?
Exactly, like for sure, that definitely would have set off anybody. Like, holy cow.
Also, the sketch reminds me of the movie Life, where starring Ryan Reynolds.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Kinda, a little bit.
Well, especially the first two.
Yeah, I mean,
For sure.
That's a thing that pops up in quite a lot, especially sci-fi kind of sense.
There's like the whole xenomorph, I think, is the most famous one.
For sure. That shit always freaked me out.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's something intrinsically terrifying about something hatching inside you.
Yeah, exactly.
I liked a bit of the investigation. That was good. I enjoyed that.
We're getting into the office.
Yeah, and just like finding stuff.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, bang, crash.
Yeah, that could have gone better.
Yeah.
The ingenuity of putting the dustpan over the thing.
To be fair, I definitely would have wanted to secure that shit too.
I thought you were also going to scoop up the dustpan and just like throw it out the window or something.
You couldn't throw it out the window because it could like land on someone and then it just spreads.
Yeah, except it already touched
Like the body snatchers. That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, we're gonna be like at one point we're gonna be walking along the road and like everybody's gonna be staring at us like, oh, you're not one of us.
And then one of them across the street point at you and start screaming.
Oh
yeah,
my
pretty
god.
much.
Yeah.
That's such a good movie, by the way. I love that movie.
Honestly, though, I kind of, weirdly enough, really like the fact that we're all kind of like starting to lose it just a little bit. Because now it's going to make it so much easier for you to be like, I don't know, is this your insanity or is this actually a thing that's happening? Like, for sure, whenever Rocky was breaking down and you were like, yeah, you signed the documents, I was like, wait, no, I mean, I did, but I didn't get her out, like. So I thought you were just telling me like Rocky was going crazy or something. And I was like, I don't know.
For a split second, I was like, oh my goodness, he murdered Nancy. Like he was hypnotized and murdered Nancy.
Honestly, though, yeah, that'd be like fucked up. But yeah, no, I'm loving the fact that like little things like that are like, wait, did I misremember that? Is this like just my character going crazy, or is this me going crazy? I really wish I took my shotgun though.
So that, you could shoot Paul because he gone crazy. Just like, I need to put the old dog down.
You still don't have anything you could shoot at. This is the thing.
Yeah, well,
you could have grabbed that shotgun and taken it in the truck for you.
Yeah, no.
I don't think the Swedes would have been very happy with a stranger coming out with a shotgun.
Yeah.
What I found as well is like out of all of us, Eric is so calm. He's just like so calm and so chill.
Yeah, I think I've maybe been playing it too calm.
Oh, he's been dealing with trolls from Sweden. Like this is like fine for him.
Oh yeah.
Seen some things at sea.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Swedish and a sailor, yeah, he's seen some shit.
I mean, he's still at 4 stress, so he's not long before going
He crossed it.
Yeah, I think
he crossed it out.
Yeah, I crossed out the compass and.
Oh, you played it safe,
yeah.
Burrowing it down for later.
I think we all crossed out something. Like I crossed out the violin.
Yeah.
Yeah, except it was like Rocky and Paul waited until they had their psychotic break before they crossed it out. Oh man, that was a
Optimum
lot.
game playing.
I just wonder what's going to happen like next session because, she was just like glowing and then she just, we just don't know when that's going to just like pop out of her belly, which is quite scary.
Yeah.
It's like something from Gremlins,
If that's what happens.
Yeah, if that's what happens, fuck's sakes.
Or maybe aliens when
Yeah, for sure though, like my plan was to like hold Cavendish at gunpoint and be like, yo, fix it, bub. And then everything else happened.
What I was thinking as well was if there's like species 16, maybe there is different types in people's, stomach. As in, one that's just like makes them grow old, eats them inside out, but then there might be one that's just not like that at all. So I was thinking about that as well, like when we saw species 16, I was thinking maybe people have got different types in them, and that's like, the sort of experiment.
Maybe.
I'm just kind of waiting for, like, we go to try and find Tillingham, and there's like, oh, he died 3 years ago.
Well, he retired
Yeah.
7 years ago. Retiring's not
Yeah.
death. Probably.
Yeah,
It could be
I'm
death.
definitely a little worried about running into a dead end with that.
You've got a very good track record of going off to remote, mansions and stuff like that. I'm sure you'll be fine.
Yeah, sure.
Just don't have the tea or the coffee or the water.
Don't drink anything.
I don't drink anything. I just keep thinking about Kane and the tea. Because, in the end, John showed me, and you're like, it's in the tea.
Well, no, what I like about Swindle is we played the Dead West one the other day, and once again, he ended up going into a room with a strange woman.
Hey, that time it panned out just fine.
Yeah, he had sex with a werewolf.
I mean, that's semantics.
Have you not learned from dark lanes, walking down, like, eerie lanes?
No, I definitely learned my lesson. The problem is my character was an absolute dumbass, and, why not? But, yeah. The bad shit happened afterwards, though. Like, the during and before, that was all fine and dandy. It wasn't until, like, afterwards that I get cut in half. Not even by the werewolf, even.
I think the worst was like when you were in that lane and then like she was poking you, like stabbing you, and you were like, "Oh, what are you doing there?"
Yeah, that one was definitely like, why didn't I see the red flags? Like,
Well, it's okay this time because now your character is actually married to the strange woman.
yeah. It's somehow better.
Maybe.
Question mark.
Right, Elise
She might be
goes.
species 16.
Elise
You
goes,
never
so
know.
Callum can go to bed.
Yeah.
Okay. Good game, everyone.
Good
Speak
game.
to you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Yeah.
See you then.
Season 2 weeks. Ciao, ciao.